Hopefully your fingers have recovered and you're ready to go today. The host is on the way. Thank you for asking. I'm going to throw on some glasses today for a few minutes. My don't want to warm up. These are my Dwight Schruters.
What are you doing? Hey.
What was that?
I said, what are you doing?
You don't like my glasses? They're fogging up as we speak.
I don't not like them. I never. Do you wear contacts?
No, I have. My eyes are really good, except for like sometimes in the morning, in the evening. And
what does that mean? So your sight is based on time of day?
I think just like when I'm tired, like maybe I don't hold my eyes open as much. I don't know. I have these are just like reading glasses. They're basically like the weakest. When I got them, the optometrist was like, I mean, do you really want them? But it just helps sometimes. Plus, I like that they had the Dwight Schrute frames, which I was a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Dwight Schrute. He's my idol.
What a day it is. It's New Hampshire primary day, and we just get to continue the never-ending bullshit.
I've never watched a whole Trump rally before, and I watched it last night. No, it's so
depressing. I couldn't do it. Yeah, and yesterday, I probably watched like half. I can't keep watching. I could give the speech. I don't need I don't need to see it. Yesterday was my fourth day. That's his fourth day in a row of Trump rallies.
He
wasn't even feeling it yesterday.
No, he was so
He didn't even want to be doing it yesterday. I was like, if you don't even want to do this, do I have to listen to it? Yeah, because I mean, that's how you know you've been watching too many Trump rallies. Is like. You
recognize the shifts in energy.
Yeah, exactly. Before they even come, he was not. Rightfully so. I will say, like, one thing I do really value is people who work hard. Like, if there's one thing I learned in Division I athletics and like corporate America, it's like you're on a team and like you're only as good as the people who will work hard next to you.
Yeah, that's
and
tough.
So like I will say Trump's schedule for like rallies and stuff. I mean, who cares? You know, if I could be on a private plane, it's probably not that hard to travel as much as he does, but he does keep up like a rigorous schedule. Like that might be one of the only things I honestly could say, like he has a work ethic.
I swear to God, he fell asleep standing up when Vivek was talking.
Oh,
it was only like a minute worth of Vivek, but he just stood
I know
there.
Exactly what you're talking about. I even recorded that. I like clipped that part because all I could think during that, it's like, why are we trotting Vivek out? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Vivek has hundreds of millions of dollars. This is the Mike Lindell treatment. Vivek is now getting the write that large check. I'll give you your 15 seconds on stage at my rallies to make you feel important. Write that check.
Well, what did he say? He's like, towards the end, he's like, and I'm only saying this because Vivek brought it up. He clearly had no idea what he's talking about, but he's like, there will be no central bank cryptocurrency.
That is cute. That's cute. That's conspiracy theory. Yeah. Have you never heard, like, there are people on here that, you know, because all conspiracy starts with like a grain of truth, and actually digital currency, because specifically speaking to blockchain, would finally help us. Maybe some of this government corruption, if we used blockchain to track financial transactions, would actually clear up a lot of where our tax-paying dollars is going to. But that is just like a central digital currency is like a truth that can be debated, but then it veers off into complete delusion. So they'll take you to like
Forum shit.
Yeah, they take you to like the government finance website where there's like one little piece of like, oh, they're considering a digital currency, and then it veers off to like complete delusion, crazy town.
We did this with somebody. Who did we do this with?
His name's like it's the first time I met Ed Lova. That's his thing. And I'm like, yeah,
that's right.
But there's a lot of people that do it. You just have to be down the YouTube alt-right pipeline. Like, so that's why you'll meet a lot of men who are down the alt-right pipeline who are fearing digital currency. That's what it's, and Vivek's one of them. That's the best part. It made so many crazy conspiracy theories made it to the stage last night. Did you make it to the end of the speech?
Marge got up there. Yeah, I watched.
I tuned out and then tuned back in.
We have to talk about
the part where the music was playing,
yes,
and all the cult members are like standing up, like it was a literal like cult service at the end, and all the cult members are like standing up, and then come the QAnon conspiracy theory references like the weird cult music in the background. I was like, what is happening?
So I don't know if it's the only stream that there was, probably not, but I was watching RBSN. I don't even remember what that is, right?
The head of that network, not the owner, but the head is Marjorine's boyfriend, Brian.
Oh, that's right.
Brian Glenn. Margarine. Wait.
I thought they were adding in the music.
No,
but then I realized
Trump's weird cult music that happens
he goes,
at the end.
Yeah, so at the end of this, if any of you guys didn't watch this, Trump does his MAGA shit, like just
don't watch
hollering.
it.
First of all, there were so many interruptions for protesters. There were so many protesters that kept
I'll give it to
interrupting.
New Hampshire. Those people are like, he's not getting out of here. This whole weekend Trump has been protested. You never will hear him admit it, but the hecklers are out in force in New Hampshire.
I know at least 4, maybe 5, but there were at least 4 times he had to stop for hecklers. But so he's doing his normal Trump stuff, the stuff that you've all seen. And then, like, at the end, this music comes on, they drop the lights, Trump turns more orange.
That's when we go full mega church. Church.
He starts reading off the teleprompter. We will ram the ramparts. Saying just the dumbest shit. And then
he doesn't know what the words mean.
So at first I'm like, oh no, he's getting tired. He's running out of energy. And now he's just sticking to the script. But then I'm like, wait, music is playing? It took me a minute. I was like, why is music playing?
It's the call for the offering. It's the church service. It's right. You know what I mean? This is when we start saving lives, bringing people to Trump.
So he gets done with that and he's like, we're going to save our beautiful country. All right, folks, good to see you. And he just like snaps out of character. Thanks for being here, guys. It was great having you.
People were like, oh, yes, here we go.
What just happened there?
And then he's like, I got to go. I got to go get on my plane and get some McDonald's. Everyone get out of here.
Like it was absolutely, it reminds me of that clip of George Bush when he's talking about the terrorists. I don't remember what he's saying, but he's like, we won't let the terrorists win. Now watch me hit this drive. And then he they pan out and he hits a drive. Like it reminded me of that. It's like, oh, he was just in character that whole time.
It's not real. Yeah, he's a grifter. Like he's great. You know, like he doesn't have the good sense to stay in character till he gets off stage. He's just like, that's time.
I love that every time he shows up to a rally. I've seen the beginning of many rallies. This is, again, the first time I've ever watched one all the way through. And I've been missing out. But I like how
I'm so miserable as a person.
He shows up on stage every time. Same thing. Oh my God, look how many people are here. There's just so many people here, we can barely fit them. I just walked through 3 waiting rooms full of people. Yeah. There's more people outside. It's like, no, there wasn't.
You know,
there wasn't. There never is. He just starts every campaign stop with an outright lie. And it's beautiful.
The real talent is the networks to get these camera angles where they try to make it look like there's lines, you know? They're like, look at all these people. It's ridiculous.
Well, you could hear it. It was not a big crowd. I don't know how many people were there, but it could not have been... Honestly, do you think there was more than 150 people there based on the chance? No chance, right?
I don't
think it sounded like 40, 50, 60 people. Tops.
Yeah, I don't. They're never. It's like. Yeah, you can tell by the applause how many people are at those things. Like I think it might. Laconia, last night, I think there were less people than the night before.
It was not a raucous rally. It was not impressive. Do you have any clips? Sorry, I've been making that video today and I didn't get all the way through. Do you have clips of Tim Scott?
Oh my God!
The fuck is Tim Scott doing?
No,
Tim
I'll
Scott's
tell you. Wait, no,
like
he does
Southern
this
Baptist
before. You don't know. You don't know Tim Scott. This has already happened before. You don't know Tim Scott's drill. Yes, when Tim Scott, this is the first time he's taken his like weird run for presidency thing so far, but like this is his in case, which I actually at first I was like, my first thought was, okay, Tim Scott is so far off the deep end, but then I considered it and no, I actually think what he's doing is smart because this is all fake. Tim Scott proposed to this woman, just conveniently on the eve, No, that's not what's going on. It's for Trump's VP pick. Like, you can't be VP unless you're married or whatever. So he's making himself a more suitable candidate, which actually, like, Elise Stefanik, like, we talked about this. She is supposed to be, and why she was an appealing candidate was because she was not Margarine. She was not Carrie Lake, but she has gone off the deep end, and it has become, she is crazier now than Margarine, yelling more vile things than Margarine. Yeah. So she's making herself not viable. Whoever the candidate is, the VP, has to be able to pull either moderate voters or, let's say, I don't know, African American voters. So Tim Scott actually looks like a more viable choice now than Elise Stefanik, because if she can't pull moderate and independent, like, female voters, then what is your purpose here? And now she's just become Margarine, which... Well, he may as well choose Margarine.
The thing that is just so painfully obvious is that, of course, Trump surrounds himself with sycophants, but also, like, just stupid people who are not intelligent. Like, watching Tim Scott try to work up that crowd and do his best Southern Baptist preacher impersonation, the crowd didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. He kept thinking that, like, these chants he was starting, the crowd was going to know, and they didn't know. But Tim Scott is also just an entire, like, he's entirely phony. Did you read any of his wedding announcement stuff?
Oh, no. Well, one of the weird things, I was like, I don't know why I'm recording this, but I think I recorded the thing that, oh God, it's him, like, kneeling on the beach, like, proposing.
At Kiawah Island, yeah.
Yeah, this is what Fox News played. And, like, Margarine was congratulating him, and I was just like, what is happening? Listen to it.
You know, how you feel about getting married, and when are you going to get married?
Well, listen, 2 weeks before Christmas, I went to her parents and asked for their permission, and that started the process. I knew I wanted to do it in mid-January. I'm really excited. The date, we'll surprise you with the date. I'm sure that we'll get some coverage on that one, but I am so thankful to have found my Proverbs 18:22 and Proverbs 31 woman.
Well, congratulations, Senator.
That was also his goddamn Instagram post. That was his...
He's not really engaged. He doesn't know this person. He paid some person to fake and engage. But did you hear him? We'll probably get some good press on that. Like, this is all for press and to possibly be the VP. What?
What do you think the date they're choosing? July 4th?
Oh, I don't know. He's not like, he's not. That's why he's like, oh, we'll see when I announce it, because this is all for show. He's not going through with it, or he might go through with it for press. He just said for press.
I think what he was saying is that they're going to get some press because of the day that they're choosing. I think that's what he's saying.
No.
Yeah. Play it again.
And asked for their permission, and that started the process. I knew I wanted to do it in mid-January. I'm really excited. The date, we'll surprise you with the date. I'm sure that we'll get some coverage on that one, but I am so thankful to have found my Proverbs 18:22.
Said we'll surprise you with the date. I'm sure we'll get some coverage on that one. Not because the date or because they're going to elope or whatever. It's not a real thing. It's not a real thing. He's done this before.
Like, he's gotten engaged before?
No, he never ran. I said never to this degree, but every time, like, he gets press, the most unacceptable thing about him as a senator is that we have 2 South Carolina senators who are suspiciously childless and married and don't want anything to do with women. This has always been speculation for the people of South Carolina. So whenever Tim Scott is in the spotlight for too long, all of a sudden he starts alluding to having a girlfriend. And this is the first time he had to take it this far, because he's like, whoa, Elise is shitting the bed. Margin's off the rocker. Scary Fake is kicked out of Mar-a-Lago. Like, I could actually be the VP, possibly.
First of all, it's wild that, like, being single, it makes it so that you are not eligible to be a senator on the Republican Party.
It's delusion.
It was a real problem with donors. But I just like looking at his quotes about her. Look, I hope it's real. I hope it's real love. I hope that I hope that we're all misreading.
No one
this.
ever saw or heard of this woman
Never.
before he announced he was running for president. So
Right.
No one's ever heard of this person.
So he posts it with a scripture. Boy, do they not look in love at all. But then he told Fox News before, I have a wonderful girlfriend and we have a wonderful relationship. The good news is God has blessed me with a smart Christian woman. Like, what? Nobody talks about their spouse that way. I have a wonderful girlfriend and we have a wonderful relationship. Good news is God has blessed me with a smart Christian woman. Well, she might be smart. She's probably getting paid. If somebody in the comments said, I hope he and his beard have a really good marriage, I don't condone that type of behavior. I don't think that's funny at all to say that in the comments at all.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 30K and let's invite some Republicans. Maybe we will actually speak to Republicans today who can explain what is going on in the Republican Party and why there's no freedom.
I liked at the end of the rally when Carrie Lake was announced after the governor's wife, whatever governor, like she was literally the last person announced. She wasn't even able to make it up on stage where anybody could see her. I really enjoyed that. I'm guessing that Carrie Lake just showed up. I can't imagine she was invited. I'm guessing she just showed up.
Well, I mean, the thing is about Carrie Lake, like we saw, she was almost the governor of Arizona by a few hundred votes, period. I mean, after being the most awful person who literally disparaged John McCain, the only thing you can't do. That's the only reason she didn't win that election. So I think Trump can't completely be like, oh, I'm sick of you, get out of here. Because if she did become a senator of Arizona, that is a power position that he wants in his pocket. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he discards people. There's object impermanence, right? It's out of sight, out of mind for narcissists. They literally don't know you exist. You're only as good as your last transaction. The last moment you were beneficial to them, that's the last time they remember anything about you. But if Carrie Lake became an Arizona senator, I think you would see him all of a sudden be marching to a different tune. She would become relevant again.
I don't even know that I agree with everything you're saying. I think that he might be overestimating how much attention he has to give her. I don't actually think he needs to give her any attention and she'll still keep just doing the crazy shit. Because that's her whole shtick. Her identity is tied to his.
Oh no, she's going to keep performing for him. That's why he doesn't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just explaining why you see people fade in and out of Donald Trump's lives. With narcissists, it's literally something called object impermanence. You can look it up. Unless someone is actually in front of their face, like I told you, the thing about narcissists, they never individuate past infancy, past the mental stage of infancy. Infants, if something's not right in front of their face, they don't know it exists. They're like, it's gone, it doesn't exist. That's why when little kids play hide and seek, they close their eyes and think they have hid. Because if they can't physically see themselves, they think they have disappeared. And that's how narcissists are. Object impermanence. Unless they see a person in front of them, that's why they tend to cheat. The person does not exist when they are not there. It's called object impermanence. So narcissists are transactional. When is the last time you benefited me? And if that gets to be more than a couple days, he forgets you exist.
Yeah, Cohen talked about that. We talked about the other day, just like how he treats his court cases. Like the ones that are really, really important, he doesn't even think about because they're more than a day away. Like whatever's happening right there in that moment is all he cares about. I did want to play... Before we move on, I just wanted to play Trump's quote when this is how he introduced Tim Scott last night, by the way. Let's turn that up.
And today was a big story, the biggest story out there. He's engaged to be married. God. We never thought this was going to happen. What's going on?
No one did.
We never thought this was going to happen. What's going on?
Everyone knows.
What's up is down.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing if Lindsey Graham all of a sudden became engaged. People would be like, what's happening? This is not the person we know him to be.
There's some shit happening in South Carolina. I'll just say that. I don't know what's going on in South Carolina, but there's some shit going on in South Carolina.
You're not allowed to be who you are. Well, I mean, I think that the reason that Trump is also marching out these people, because like I don't know that Trump would ever pick Tim Scott as a VP candidate. Thing that you were noticing, and I think you'll notice more now that I say it, is Trump is specifically and purposely surrounding himself with every politician in South Carolina that he can get. It's to prove to Nikki Haley, everyone from your state backs me. He did the same thing with DeSantis, right? He pried Florida out of DeSantis's cold dead hands and said, don't even think about it. Like, the more South Carolina politicians he can surround himself with, the more he invalidates Nikki Haley's candidacy. And that's why you hear, everyone talking about if she will continue in the primaries, even through South Carolina's primary. She did, I checked as an advertising, someone that worked in advertising, I know she did do a small ad buy. She placed a small ad buy. But it's only $67,000.
In South Carolina?
Yeah. If you know something about ad buys, $67,000 is like spending $10 on ads, but she still placed it. I mean, that could be her like farewell. And she did book one in-person appearance, so that could be her I'm conceding appearance, but we'll know more after today. Done? Well, so far, because I mean, everything will be, if she's close in New Hampshire, the money will keep flowing. If she's not close today, she'll be defunded. Do you know what I mean?
She's winning right now in New Hampshire.
Well, I know it just depends.
Of all 6 votes that have been counted, she got all of them.
Yeah, but when you book advertising ad buys, like you're not booking. She has the ads made, but whether or not she books the space on TV and stuff, that's down to the PACs, and they're withholding funds until they know.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? If she loses New Hampshire today, and last I saw, she was down something like 30 points in South Carolina. Is that ring true still?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, and all the politicians they're backing Trump. It's not looking good. It's not.
And like 60 points down in Nevada. I mean, New Hampshire has never been super important for the Republican Party. Either has Iowa. It's more about the states that happen afterwards. But what we are learning from New Hampshire is New Hampshire shows like what the independent voters think. It will give us an idea of how independents across the country likely are leaning when it comes to Trump versus Biden. And if Nikki Haley picks up a bunch of the independent votes, I think the Biden team can look at that as a win. If this is close, I think that the Biden team can look at that as, okay, here's the messaging that we need to hammer home. And you heard it from people in New Hampshire. Like, again, not to keep beating a dead horse, but abortion is a big issue. It's a big issue with independents. Both men and women who are independents in New Hampshire, they care about that issue. Obviously, the border is another issue that matters to independents, but that doesn't seem to fall one way or the other, which is interesting. Those numbers don't seem to fall with Donald Trump. They seem to kind of just land 50-50 between Biden and Trump. I don't think anybody has confidence in either of them to get this fixed.
Well, that's because traditionally it hasn't changed. I just don't think if you think the border is going to be closed that well, it is a delusional thing to place at Trump's feet because it would crash the economy. It can't happen. But I didn't put this in the outline because I just thought it would depress. I was going to put it in the top of the outline and be like, this is so depressing. This will depress you, but it will hammer home what we're talking about right now. This is a focus group of 2-time Trump voters, okay? You want to talk...
What number is this?
It's not in the... I just said 2 seconds ago, it's not in the outline.
I was reading
put
something,
it in there
I'm sorry.
because I didn't want to depress you. But yeah, so this is 2-time Trump voters talking about the possibility of there being a woman president. This is a perfect example of patriarchy is systemic, right? You don't have to be a man to be indoctrinated into the patriarchy and back it up. This is the most disturbing thing I've ever heard.
So just be prepared. Don't want to kill me after. But I don't feel as though a woman belongs in the presidential seat. And I say that only because the other women in here hopefully can relate, but we think with our heart mostly over mind. And that's not what we need right now. We need somebody like Trump. The man's job.
having emotional outbursts. I've never seen someone cry more than MAGA men and their leader, Orange Jesus. This man is the most emotional man. He makes no decisions based on logic, and this woman will sit here and say that women are too emotional.
That's why. I mean, if you look at all the debates that we've had, it's been very. It's like she can't even pretend, or not pretend. She can't show any sort of weakness or any sort of emotion at all. But that's.
Wait,
help me with that. Help me with the understanding there. How do you wind up that self-hating as a woman? Like, how does that happen?
It's not self-hating. It's also survival, right? Like, this is right. I don't know if you're aware, but like the number one cause of death for pregnant women traditionally white males, right? The seat of that power, right? And women, the way that white and their power, they have enjoyed protection, and by default of Caucasian women in Western civilization. That's what we now call pick-me's, right? There was much the consolidation makes total sense. I'm the emotional one, not the guy that paints himself orange every morning and screams about how unfair life is. Not that man. It's women. It's
I kind of like it when I like the fire that you brought today. I love this today. Where was this focus group at?
I don't know. Like, where was it?
Was it a New Hampshire focus group? No, that's what I was wondering.
So. Yeah.
Okay.
I assume so. It's just 2-time Trump voters. I don't know if they were all in New Hampshire, but for all I know, it's on Zoom. Like, this is like, so I don't know.
That's a good explanation. I didn't.
I have no idea. It's 2-time Trump voters.
I've never thought of it that in the way that you laid it out. That's brilliant, of course. But it's sad. It's really really fucking sad to hear somebody say that. Like, when clearly the best candidate that you guys have is Nikki Haley. She's also the most likely to win. She's the most likely to beat Joe Biden. She's the most likely to appeal to the biggest swath of voters. And this is the MAGA shit that I can't understand. Like, they will go down with the ship. Like, they will. Like, it's on fire. Everybody outside can see it, and they're like, "Fuck it, no, this is the way that we want to go." It's such a bizarre thing.
This woman's
to
like,
watch MAGA do this, to watch them just self-destruct.
I feel safer if men take my rights away.
Yeah, and so confidently. They're so confident in such awful
like, stand
opinions.
Up.
Yeah,
it's so embarrassing. Like, anyways, let's continue this. It just gets worse.
case of the world. Don't want him having a bad day or that time of the month or whatever. So
he said that women having the nuclear codes and stuff, if there's a bad day, you know what I'm saying? That we would be too emotional. The man who has been threatening nuclear holocaust.
Yeah, you and I have both spent more time than we would like to admit in Old Town Scottsdale at those bars.
Yeah.
I just remember every weekend going home and telling my friends about all those emotional women who were fighting each other and fighting bouncers. It was always the women that were getting into fistfights over nothing. It was always, it was them. That's who we want. I want somebody who, when they get heckled, lashes out. I want somebody with the nuclear codes that cannot handle something as simple as a difficult question from the press. That's what I want. But he is
if a reporter asks someone a question, he gets thrown out of Trump's press pool because
a very and just says like, hey,
not emotional at all.
Would you mind answering the question? And by the way, Donald Trump, Elise Stefanik, match made in heaven. Just want to keep putting that out there. I've now decided that I want Elise Stefanik to be the
gross
VP pick.
People. Oh, well, yeah, me too. Just two super gross people.
Burn it all down. Just go up in flames. Put Elise Stefanik. Fuck it. Put Marjorie on there. I don't care. One of those two. Let's just do it.
Elise is worse than Margarine.
She's working on it.
You know why? Well, I'm going to explain why. Because now Elise thinks to gain. She's not smart enough to realize my role is to poll independent voters, the women. Not, you know what I mean? Like. Because Margarine is clueless about anything. Elise understands how to craft legislation. She knows the rules of the House. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes her more dangerous.
She can read.
That's just kind of how I feel.
I think a woman does have a chance right now because of diversity and all that stuff. I don't think she's going to follow what she's talking about. I think we're getting a partial smokescreen from her. I don't fully trust her. She's telling us all what we want to hear, but what is she actually going to do? I'll stick with Trump so far. I don't trust a woman.
I don't trust a woman. We're talking about a man who has lied about everything, not followed through on one promise he made, done nothing but rack up debt for this country, but Nikki Haley.
He said by the way, when she says she's telling us what we want to hear. Last night, Trump said to the people, I will, to the people of New Hampshire, a couple of crazy fucking promises. Number one, I will cut your electric bill in half on day one. How?
No authority to do that.
How? Two, he said he was going to build an iron dome over our country. How? How you gonna do that, Donald? And what was the third one?
Like he means a defense system. Like that's the name of the missile defense system we built for Israel. He just means having one of our own.
No, I know what he. I know he didn't mean an actual Iron Dome. I know he meant that like what we did at Israel.
No, he might. Who knows?
Yeah, that's a good
point. At this point, like who knows what he means?
But he made another promise.
No, well, he again said that he was going to cut taxes for the rich and corporations last night. That was great.
But he made a promise, and he's like, it was completely off the cuff, and said he was going to do the manufacturing in New Hampshire.
Oh, I can't remember that one.
It was right at the end. I don't remember. It was something so off the cuff, and then he's like, now that I think about it, I'll find it. Shit, I wish I knew I should have written it down. I'm like, I'll remember that. I did not remember it. But like Donald Trump is making campaign promises in the way that like a fifth grader makes
he has never followed through on one thing that he said he's going to do.
Yeah, it's so
not even the insane things. Couldn't build a wall, accomplished absolutely nothing. But Nikki Haley can't be trusted. A known and proven liar, because he's a male, can be trusted.
Last night he said we built the. He said like we built the wall and we got Mexico to pay for it by sending 24,000 troops to the border, like their troops to the border, It was like, dude, what are you talking about? That's
Just
not. You didn't build a wall, and also, if you did, that wasn't paying for it. That was Mexico on their side of the border trying to like help control the border. That was it. That wasn't them paying for it. It was bizarre. I don't know how you're still alive. I don't know how you do that. You're
every day. I know. Like that's it.
Speaking
I'm telling
of hating
you.
themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, like, but that's the point. It's like if you want to be in a cult, that's the easiest way to be there, right? It starts with acceptance and no critical thinking, and you give up your right to examine and to investigate what the truth is. That's the number one requirement of being in Trump's cult, is no longer thinking. And speaking of the cult, this is a great segue, because I don't know if you got a chance to say it, but or see it, but you know who they're trying. It's not a cult, but you know who they're trying to throw out of the "it's not a cult" now. Guess whose time's up now? Time's up.
No.
Time's
Who are we
up.
losing?
Time's up. Chair of the Freedom Caucus. Now they're trying to throw the leader. The leader of the Freedom Caucus is not culty enough for the cult, and he's got to go. You know what he did? Because this is you, MAGA. This is you. You're not in a cult, but as long as you don't have any thoughts that are all your own, because he endorsed Ron DeSantis, because he was caught on tape saying the unthinkable, that Trump was not a good choice for president.
We're talking about Bob Good, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But most people think Jim Jordan is the chair because Bob Good never says anything.
Jordan, no, listen, a caucus is a group of people inside, like, of the larger congressional caucus is like everyone in Congress. Caucuses are just people, like, interest groups that align together. Jim Jordan is the chair of a congressional committee, which is the Judicial Committee.
Well, I also think he's the deputy chair of the Freedom Caucus. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, he's definitely not the chair. It's Bob Good, 5th District of Virginia. And because of that tape where Bob Good said the truth, that Trump's not fit to be president, they're primarying him. Marjorie,
which again,
endorsed his challenger in the primary.
Ron DeSantis aligns much better with the Freedom Caucus than Donald Trump. That's the crazy. Like, Ron DeSantis is exactly who the Freedom Caucus wants. Like, he says and does everything that they want. He's hard on immigration. He draws hard lines on wokeism and hard lines on abortion. Like, he's willing to take stances that nobody else is willing to take because they're so fucking crazy. He's exactly what the Freedom Caucus people would want if this wasn't a cult. Like, if you were just looking policy for policy and you took the names out and you asked the Freedom Caucus, which of these candidates are you more in line with? Every one of them would side with Ron DeSantis. In fact, if you took Donald Trump's name off and just like nobody knew who he was and you were running a campaign blind, he would lose to everybody. I don't think there's a single person on the Republican stage that Donald Trump would beat.
Well, let me do this out of order then, because that's a good point, because that was my next point. But I do want to hear the Bob Good stuff, because what happened yesterday with the chair of the Freedom Caucus is a complete meltdown on CNN over Margarine. Caitlin Collins kept pushing him for the truth. He's trying to like lie out of what's happening, and it got ugly. But the other thing that happened that's completely delusional is what you're saying about Ron DeSantis. Like, let's say you guys, your policies, all the stuff Trump says he's going to do has to do with being a bigot, right? Like, right? Mass deportations, all of this crazy stuff. But he has no actual policy or plan of how he would actually do that, right? But, Ron DeSantis actually does have policy and has said, how are you going to pay for the wall, Ron? Oh, I'm remittance. Every time someone sends money to another country, south of here, I'm going to charge. He tells you how he's actually going to fund the bigoted policies that you guys want desperately. Trump doesn't even have a plan to do it. Yeah, because he's a legislator.
He's used to having to answer questions and be held accountable. That's the weird thing about the Republicans try to hold their senators and congresspeople accountable for things. Donald Trump is the only person in the Republican Party who is never held accountable for anything. Nobody gives a fuck. That's why it's so unfair to campaign against him. Like, you're going to be held accountable for everything you say and do. Nikki Haley's campaign was essentially derailed by that one clip where she said that the Civil War was about states' rights, that it was, right? If Donald Trump could be like, the Civil War wasn't about slavery at all, and he would go up 10 points in the GOP.
Oh, they would love it.
Nothing makes sense with the GOP when it comes to Trump. Everybody else gets crucified for anything they do and say wrong. And if Trump says it, they're like, well, maybe, you might have a point there.
Yeah, so listen to this. Cuckery. This is Steve Bannon. So think about it. Ron DeSantis knew out of fear, didn't even give a concession speech that got to be his own. He literally conceded, dropped out of the race. It was like, I immediately endorse Donald Trump. I'm terrified of what happens if I don't. And still, was it good enough? Was it actually good enough? Let's see.
It happened right now. Ron DeSantis, President Trump's very classy. Super classy. He's got a kind heart. He's actually a very kind-hearted guy. Mm-hmm. Ron DeSantis was not gracious. He said, I signed a pledge, so I got to support him. Kind of still like the little 9-year-old petulant child that Ron DeSantis is. Ron DeSantis, who's never going to be president of the United States. You just burn $150 million in Iowa, dude. You can't come back from that.
Yeah, he did burn $150 million in Iowa, but that's literally fell on his sword immediately, crawled on his knees to Donald Trump and kissed the ring. Oh, Ron DeSantis has no class. He's not classy enough. Meanwhile, a man that wakes up, has a makeup artist paint him orange every morning, and treats everyone like garbage. That's a classy guy. That's a classy guy, you guys. That's
the thing about, like, in watching that campaign rally is that every single person that has come up on that stage, that came up on that stage last night.
Yeah, that was Steve Bannon.
Minus Marjorie. And maybe Elise. Was she up there? I can't remember if she's up there. Anyways, everybody around Donald Trump, he has said nasty, horrific things about them when they disagreed. And he said it last night. He's like, oh man, it's amazing how much easier it is to like people when they like you.
When I win.
I can actually like people.
when I win.
When I win, When I win. It was like, that was so telling. That's such a bizarre thing to say. That's such a self-report. But the MAGA people will be like, oh, he's so honest. Yeah, he's honest about being like a petulant child.
Dishonest,
It was weird to hear petulant child not followed by Donald Trump when Bannon was just talking to her. Like,
nobody is more of a petulant child than Donald Trump. Let's go to Bob Good. I want you to hear this dispute. Bob Good had a complete meltdown on air, and we should all... they're going to ruin Bob Good's life because he made the mistake of endorsing DeSantis and saying the truth that Trump wasn't fit to be president.
But you're facing a primary challenger right now in your race. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman, has just endorsed him, saying that you're, as she, and I'm quoting her now, these aren't my words, she said, you're angry, disloyal MAGA traitor who was caught on camera trashing President Trump. When it comes to your party, what do you think is more important? Is it your conservative record or your support for Donald Trump?
Well, the last part of that is demonstrably false. I've never been caught on camera because I've never done it trashing President Trump. There's a reason why we kicked Marjorie Taylor Greene out of the Freedom Caucus last summer. So she's a disgruntled former member who has an axe to grind. She has some kind of deep-seated hatred towards the Freedom Caucus now. She's been exposed as the fraud and the liar that she is.
Okay, but Congressman,
she's upset because Kevin McCarthy was removed as Speaker, and she has a personal vendetta against people like me who didn't support Kevin McCarthy for Speaker. In terms of me having a primary challenge, I'm not entitled to the nomination. I had to earn it in 2020. I had to earn it in 2022. I have to earn it in 2024. And I believe the people of the 5th District won't let this seat be bought by allies of the former Speaker, by the swamp creatures from D.C. and California.
Can I say one thing? Because you don't like, you and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene don't see eye to eye, but you are on camera very critical of Donald Trump, and it caused Trump's campaign manager to claim that you wouldn't be electable when they were done with you.
Made by a campaign opponent who sliced it up and edited it to take out the complimentary praise statements that I said about President Trump. It's a highly edited video provided by a campaign operative for my.
So you didn't say those things that you're on camera saying? I mean, you're on camera.
If you take sentences and you take part of the sentence out, you get a different conclusion from that sentence or a different inference from that sentence.
That's not what happened. So he was caught on tape trashing Trump, or not trashing him, saying he's not fit to be saying the truth. And then as a result of that, Trump's camp said when they were done with him, right, he would be primaried. They were going to ruin his chances of even making it to the election. And that's what happened. And now Marjorie is making good on that promise. And he's sitting there. You can tell he can't even say the truth. Oh, yeah, they are trying to ruin my chances just because I was honest. No, now he has to still walk that line of delusion. It's like, do Republicans ever get sick of watching their candidates just bullshit?
Yeah, how do you watch that as a Republican? How do you watch that as somebody who like is taking any of this seriously and not recognize that literally what he's saying? They're like, hey, it turns out that exactly at the same time as you said bad things about Donald Trump, everybody flipped on you. Do you think that's because of what you said about Donald Trump? And then he's like, no, it's because Marjorie Taylor Greene really, really likes Kevin McCarthy. And this is just, she's disgruntled about that. So she's making it about this. No, everybody fucking knows what this is. Why do they lie? Why not just be like, yeah, that's what happened.
Every Republican candidate is
Trump.
lying to your faces. And you guys are like, this feels great.
You want to talk about cuckoldry. Let's talk about cuckoldry. This is fucking insane. These are, by the way, let's also remember that right before
guys,
this,
tap the screen. Let's get to 55K.
We played a clip of a woman and two men talking about the emotional ability of a woman to be president, and then we're watching grown men like grovel because they could. I didn't.
And
they
lie.
left out the part where I said the nice things.
Cowards.
I said nice things before that. What the fuck? If I talk shit about anybody and they come to me and they're like, "Did you talk shit?" and I did, I will say, "Yeah." I'm not going to bring up the fact that I said some nice things too. I don't care. Like, I'm going to stand behind my words, but these people cannot stand behind their words. And it's like they forget what fucking year it is. Everything you say is recorded. Everything. Especially if you're campaigning. Somebody's got a phone and they're recording it. Every single thing that you say. And then they go on the news and they just lie right in front of you. Oh, that's not what this is about. Of course that's what this is about. Of course it is. Donald Trump is on stage just admitting it at this point. It's like, I've never seen a bigger group. There's never been a bigger group of pussies to ever exist on this earth than MAGA Republicans. It's the softest of the soft.
Well, we've already started to see the shift, like in the battle for reality or what's real. Like I was just reading I think it was New York Times article yesterday about it, like just how the claims have already started of it's AI or it's been edited. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Bob Good, you were caught like at a campaign event talking like that's what happened. And him saying, oh, it was sent by my campaign opponent. No, it wasn't. People, like you said, people were just recording Bob Good talking and he got caught, which is ridiculous. You should be able to say that someone's not the best candidate for the Republican Party.
Yeah. I'm being told we got some feedback real quick. Let me see. I don't know if it's mine. It's probably my mic that's popping. Somebody said mic is popping.
Oh, that could be me. I might have flicked my mic. Is it right?
Well, I'm not hearing any pop coming. Are you hearing any from me?
No. But I did
in
hit
the
my
chat,
mic.
are you guys hearing popping? Hear it more with Felice?
I just did that with my hands.
Do you want to just undo your cord, take your cord out and back in? Sometimes that does it. I don't know. A lot of people are saying they're not hearing it. Mine pops. Now it's mine. Okay.
Yours always does.
Yeah, I think it's just because I'm loud. Probably. I might be too close to the mic.
But sometimes I hit my hand against the mic. I do that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Sorry about that. I'll turn mine off and on. Wait, did you turn your pop filter on?
What?
No? Okay, I didn't either. I don't know how to fix anything. I was just zizzing, is what I've been told. All right, we'll keep going. Sorry about that. It didn't pop until I said cuckoldry. Is that word correct? Is that a word?
Yeah, that's a whole genre of corn. If you don't know, it's a thing where, it's a fetish where you like to watch someone like essentially have relations, if you will, with like your wife or your girlfriend. That's what being a cuckold is.
I know what it is. I just didn't know if
No, I'm explaining to people. There are people. I'm not explaining to you. I'm explaining. I'm giving general information to people that don't understand the origin of something.
Gotcha. Well, that is what every single Republican is to Donald Trump. They just, it's so sad. Like to be that way about anybody, to pledge that kind of allegiance to anybody or anything. It reminds me of the religion I grew up in. It's sad. It's embarrassing. It's like you have to go out of your way to ignore reality, to ignore facts, just to get to this point. And that's why it's so easy for Christians to support Donald Trump, because they're used to that. They're used to ignoring like the clear absurdities of their doctrine and just pretending that those absurdities don't exist.
Yeah, well, that's facts. Like that's like religion predisposes people to just accept lies, right? Because that's what religion requires blind faith, which is accepting a bunch of stuff that's not true or you have no evidence or proof of.
Did you see the part of the rally when Trump brings up what's that guy's the hungry guy? What's his name? Viktor Orban. And he's like, you guys know, and some lady goes,
oh, so now you get
hungry. And he's like, that's right. I just like how he treats everybody like they're first graders. Like, that's right. No, you've been studying. Good job.
No, but that's not, the funny thing is one of the TikToks I made like at the beginning of this Trump rally season was because Trump didn't know where Hungary was. So it's funny he's treating people like they learned something when Trump still doesn't know the geography of Hungary. But yeah, it goes to, remember yesterday when I was talking about, or that retired General Ben Hodges was saying, yeah, it's very disturbing to me as someone who dedicated my life to the military that Trump is now talking about generals, like officers in the military and judges, like they're his judges, his generals who have to pay homage to him. He's talking like a third world dictator, and that's Viktor Orban. He wants to be Viktor Orban. Viktor Orban happily has a nationalist identity. He has his own conciliaries on TV saying, "Yeah, I think it's great," and that we're banning non-whites. The reason he has a problem with immigration is because, just like the poisoning of the blood thing, he doesn't want the nation's identity. He doesn't want Hungary to become a melting pot. It's the most disturbing stuff on earth, and you hear all Trump talks about is can't wait till America is just. Well, yeah, what I can't wait till I'm America's Viktor Orban.
Yeah, he said it last night too. He's so transparent. He said something along the lines of like, "It's nice to have a strong man running your country." Not a strong man.
He knows authoritarian rhetoric.
And by the way he's saying, he's not saying a strong man. He's saying strong man. No space there. Strong man, one word, in the way like that has connotations, and he knows what it means. And by the way, it is nice having a strong man running your country if you're on his side, or if you happen to be like the preferred race of that strong man. But if you're not a great deal. Not super great to have a strong man as the dictator of your country.
And also just, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what strength is. Strength is being able to be vulnerable. It's accepting accountability. It's acknowledging, being able to take an inventory of yourself and saying, here are my weaknesses. I'm going to surround myself with people that are strong where I'm weak. But Trump can't even acknowledge that he has weaknesses. That's why Biden is a strong leader, because he's like, where I'm weak, I'm going to get the strongest people to fill in for my weaknesses. That's why the government is running so well. That's why the economy has turned around, because he's put people in positions that can shine where he is weak.
Yeah, but like we left England for a reason. We left because we didn't like that type of like autocratic leadership. We wanted this to be a collective. The way that the Constitution was designed was to make it difficult, was to force people come to the table with what they wanted and make concessions to each other. This was by design, and it's baffling to me to see the same people. They're like, oh, I love the Constitution, I love America, we need a dictator. Like we're not. Don't do anything about the wall. Don't do anything about the border right now because we have to have a dictator. And so it's bizarre to me that those very people that are making the argument that they're America first and they love America and they love the Constitution, though, like they would have been the redcoats. That's who they would have been. They wouldn't have been the freedom loving patriots that were fighting against. No, they'd have been like, oh, you know who we fucking love? The king. We love the king.
They're cowards.
Yeah, you know why we love the king? Because he tells us exactly what to do and think, and then we can just do that. And we don't have to do any doing or thinking of ourselves or of our own. We can just do exactly what we're told. And I don't understand. It's the messaging, but they've been able to co-opt like this message and convince people that what they love is the opposite. Like, vote for the opposite of what you claim you love. It's bizarre to me. I don't know how Trump people can say they're like freedom loving and that they love the Constitution and also support him. It makes absolutely no sense.
It requires knowledge of like economic knowledge to understand. Screaming America first, that means you want things to be good here at home. And the worst thing you could do would be to destabilize the world supply chain, the world shipping lanes, the world economy, because that would hurt what? The largest consumer economy in the world. That would make things here in America really bad, but they can't figure that out.
That's why they get so much wrong. Like when they try and act like America is the victim and Donald Trump is out there on stage talking about trade deficits. Like we've discussed this multiple times. A trade deficit is not a problem. It's okay to have a trade deficit. Many times it's good to have a trade deficit, but they have to turn America into victims so that they can create this wall around America and then they can rule as an authoritarian. But none of you, there's not a nationalist out there whose life will get better if we end globalism. Like if we stop being a global player, if we stop having a global economy, everybody's life will get worse. Nobody's will get better except for the few people who are in charge of
except
leading.
For billionaire, yeah. The one person, the donor class, not us.
Yeah, it's so... I get it. If we were an island and we were starting today and we were like, we just want to be self-sustaining and we don't want to interact with other economies, fine. Like we're going to have a very basic economy. It's going to be self-sustaining. Maybe we'll barter. But right now we're the world's biggest economy and we rely heavily on other countries and they rely heavily on us. And if you get rid of that relationship, it fucks up everything. Like we can't make the phones. We can't make the computers. We can't make the chips.
We don't get stronger.
Yeah,
we can't afford anything. That's what, you think you can't afford stuff now? You guys like to complain about gas now? You guys have no idea what not being an island, right? I don't know, like if you've ever lived on an island or small countries that have been embargoed and cut off from the world economy, like I have, then you know how expensive things are when you're not part of the capitalistic global economy. That will be our future.
Can't wait. Yeah. Trump forever. 2024 and beyond.
Forever and always. And we can talk about margarine. I have to say the thing about Kim Jong-un. I just have to. Margarine was, stumping for Trump on her boyfriend's network, right?
Margarine is a stump. She's always stumping. She just is a stump.
She has I would say low information, but like no information is more accurate. The woman... Yeah, see, if you've lived in Hawaii, you know what happens when you're on an island. You know what happens to the economy. A gallon of milk is $8. That's the future of America first economy. Don't tell them, though. Let them find out for themselves. Just it'll be a surprise.
It'll be great. We're going to love it. You guys are going to really...
You guys are going to love it.
You're going to get so tired of winning.
Gas prices go up 10 cents and you guys start crying. You guys start sobbing. Remember when eggs went up? That's like just a little taste. You have no idea.
That's like corn for these people though. Like when they see prices go up, that's the crazy thing. Is that now when they see bad things happening to America, they celebrate. That's who MAGA has become. Like when they see Yeah, I was reading yesterday. Rick Harrison, he's the guy from Pawn Stars. He's the owner. His son passed away.
What?
Not the son. There's another son apparently, not Corey.
Okay.
There's another son. Like, I think his name is Andrew, but he passed away from a fentanyl overdose. And Rick Harrison's like, we need to do something about this. And MAGA went crazy. Like all over Twitter's like, Rick Harrison blames Joe Biden, and like they're celebrating. They're like, another win for Donald Trump. It's like, bro, someone's kid is no longer with us, and Rick Harrison correctly saying like, we should do something about this, and you guys got excited. It makes you happy. Every time something bad happens in this country, happened during Obama and Biden, like the Republicans get excited. They're so happy about it. Adam was the name. Sorry, I said Andrew. Adam Harrison. Anyway, it's just like at this point, they're so in the cult. It reminds me of like the Jim Jones stuff or Lori Vallow, where they're like,
it's almost time for the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, they're hoping for this destruction. They're hoping for this end of time. You see, some of the biggest creators on Twitter now are advocating that Texas secede and have a civil war because the Supreme Court, which we'll cover in a second, had the audacity to rule that you can't hide fucking razor wire in a river where children are swimming. And like, I have friends posting like, the Supreme Court said that we must have open borders.
1776. It's like they're like, oh my gosh, brown people can't be caught in barbed wire. No, Civil War time. We will not let this stand. If people can't get tangled in barbed wire, that's a reason to go to war.
Texas. I wish all these morons would do it. We'll clear out Oklahoma, and you guys show up in Oklahoma with all your people, and we'll show up with the United States military. And we'll just see what happens.
Good luck.
We'll just see what happens.
Be like the
we won't even
Alamo
show up.
all over again.
We'll have 4 people sitting at wherever they're at, whatever fort they're at, with a remote control, just taking you out. We won't even need to send soldiers.
Just be gamers. That's
I
what
saw
it is.
somebody say, Gunther Eagleman, who's just obviously a moron, but he's like, in Texas, there's more retired vets in Texas than the entire country. It's like, cool. What are you gonna do with that? What are you going to do with your retired vets? Like, yell on Twitter some more? Because they're like, I can't believe they won't let us...
with people anymore.
Why won't they let us cut up these brown children coming across the river? How dare they?
That's what machine learning's about. We no longer need bodies for war, but thank you for that. You round up those retired vets. Good luck to you. God, it's so embarrassing. And like, this is also... the Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court, who's still, without even explanations for their dissent, who's it? Gorsuch, Clarence, Turncoat Thomas, all these people dissenting. Of course, they didn't say why. Because you're Clarence Turncoat Thomas, because you're actually going against the Constitution. Of course, immigration is the federal government's purview. Like, surprise, the Supreme Court has to hold up the Constitution.
Yeah, I don't know if Texans realize this.
They don't tell them.
Texas, you don't share a border with Mexico, okay? Your border ends, and then there's this line of federal land. You share a border with federal land. The federal land shares a border with Mexico. That's not yours. I don't know who needs to tell Texas this or explain how this shit works.
We have to learn something. MAGA, we have to learn facts about something. That's why you're conservative justices that would do anything to make, progressive ideologies' lives harder are just like, no, we have to hold up the Constitution here because that's how it works. Sorry.
And I was really worried about the Supreme Court. One thing you said maybe last week or the week before that,
why would they
you brought up is that like these
their
people,
own judicial power?
Yeah, they also have egos, right?
Yes.
And they have the ability because they can't be primaried. They can't be kicked out.
No way to hurt those people.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing Donald Trump can actually do to them. They're the only people, and thank God, but
that are above Donald Trump's delusional
I was a little surprised by the ruling, to be honest. I know it was 5-4. It was closer than it should have been 9-0. It was 5-4. But I was a little surprised, and it gives me hope going forward. What did they rule earlier this week? That they wouldn't hear one of Trump's claims. I can't remember. It's back-to-back rulings this week now where I've been like,
yeah, they're outraged by SCOTUS. But yeah, like at the end of the day, especially when it comes to the presidential immunity argument that they will hear, is the bottom line is just the judicial branch, one of the three branches of government, is not going to cede their power to the executive branch. Like, the only way to get rid of these people would be somehow delusionally convincing narcissists to give up their own seat of power and hand it over to the executive branch. Like, it's delusional to think they would do that.
But it goes to show you, like, when you say narcissists won't hand over their power, it's true until they realize they don't have power, which is what's happened in Congress, specifically the House. Donald Trump has all of the power. Every one of those people that capitulated to Donald Trump and continue to do it, they're just allowing themselves to become less and less relevant. They're all throwaways. Can we please remember that Ron DeSantis was the star of the Republican Party a year ago? He was what everybody was hanging their hat on. Every news network in the country that was right-leaning was like, oh, look at how amazing Ron DeSantis is. Look at what a great governor he is. He was the star. He was the guy who was doing everything you guys wanted him to do. He was far more effective than Donald Trump. I recognize that he was only a governor, but he was far more effective. He's a good governor at getting things done. Like, I don't like what he did, but he got shit done, and he's a nobody. His political career is finished now. It's finished because he went out.
Marco Rubio'd.
He got decimated. He got exposed, and then he came crawling back because he thinks like this is the only way to save his political career, and he's right. But he'll never be taken seriously again. That when Donald Trump leaves the Republican Party, however he does, there will be a bunch of people who think that they're next in line, and nobody will take power. Somebody else outside of Donald Trump's circle of cult members will take power because they don't even trust each other. They all hate each other. They just love Donald Trump, and none of them have a backbone, and they'll be the easiest people in the world to defeat. That's how this ends for MAGA. The MAGA, as soon as Trump is gone, MAGA implodes completely.
It's embarrassing. Well, Ron DeSantis' trajectory has perfectly mirrored Marco Rubio. And Marco Rubio was smarter and better. He was a better debater. I mean, he's very intelligent person. He could have been a great president for the Republicans, but he challenged Trump, had to do, then got little Marco, then crawled back to get reelected to the Senate to Trump for money. And it's exactly what DeSantis. Oh, yeah. He would have been a great president. I mean, not a great president for any, for the rest of us, but for what the Republicans are trying to do, which is drag us back or stop us from ever making any progress. Yeah, he would have been a great president for that.
Well, I think he would have won that GOP. Like, take Trump out of that GOP primary in 2016. I think Marco would have been the one. Sure. Like, I think he would have won. I know Jeb was the front runner, but Trump was right about Jeb. Like, of all the people that he's low energy. He was very low energy. That was a good nickname. He wasn't an effective. He wasn't effective at getting his message across. He was milquetoast. I think Rubio would have beat him.
Oh, I think so too. I think so as well. I mean, yeah, it is what it is at this point. We saw the Supreme Court is we'll see what happens, but I think that people are delusional. Like, the Supreme Court's job is to interpret the law, not at the end of the day to give up more power to Donald Trump. So, and I also don't think that his delusional continually mentioning them and saying like they don't, implying that they need to help him or they owe him or whatever. I don't think that's going over well. Every Trump rally, he's doing that, implying they owe him and they're only there because of him. And I don't think it's going. If I was him, I'd just be quiet.
Well, there's a lot of things you would do differently if you were him. I think that's part of his strongman facade, though. He wants he doesn't say that because it wins. He does it because I think he revels in it. I think he enjoys being able to bring people on stage and humiliate them.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the crazy thing about these, like the lack of self-respect for all of these folks. Like, you want to talk about swamp. These are all swamp creatures. These are the swampiest of the swamp creatures that will say one thing one day and completely reverse course the next day and kiss the ring. This is the swamp that he wanted to drain. And when he got into the swamp, he's like, oh, wait a minute. This is why the swamp is how it is. Like, it's good to collect swamp creatures. And now he's like Pokemon. He got to collect them all. And he's got the margarine. He's got the Sanctimonious. Like, he has,
is like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, he's just collecting all these caricatures, and that's who they turn out to be. They're just caricatures.
But my point about saying all this weird stuff at Trump rallies about the Supreme Court justices is he has no leverage on these people. These are the only people he cannot leverage.
There are some people with leverage on them, but they're not Trump.
I mean, you could, like, in terms of like what offing one, like, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only outside leverage. Or they take, I mean, what we found out is they take bribes, you know, like that, like he could make a financial sort of donation, but like, and I'm saying just traditionally how he controls Congress by saying, oh, we're going to primary you, we're going to threaten you, you won't get reelected. Like, none of this stuff is leverage over them.
Well, and the people that do have leverage, the people that have bribed them, the people that have paid for things, the people that know where the bodies are buried, those aren't Trump people. They're not. They see Trump as useful, but what they're not going to do is hand over the Supreme Court that they cultivated over 30 or 40 years, that they hand select themselves to do their bidding. They're not going to hand that over to Donald Trump. Now, if Donald Trump can be useful to them in getting Project 2025 put into place, great. But they're not going to have the courts completely capitulate to Donald Trump. I don't see that happening.
Yeah, because to those people, to the billionaire class, like Leonard Leo, you see, Leonard Leo does not, they call him the kingmaker for a reason. He decides who gets to fill the Republican presidency. He works for the billionaires. They don't answer to, that's why they call him the kingmaker. They need a warm body in that seat. They don't care who it is. They just need a Republican, and then they go to work with their agenda. And actually, this is good for, I made a mistake yesterday. What we were talking about Project 2025 and how we they have a grassroots strategy with Project 2025 to get like the moms of liberty involved, and you get your little grassroots kit and they're here's how you can make a difference, like getting Project 2025 on the books. And I said that was, I think, Travel Casey, Armand's idea. I think that's actually Kim's. And so I just wanted to correct myself there. And then the other thing I wanted to note is just to get into like what this is about and what the Heritage Foundation, it's not dependent on Trump. Like, he made Project 2025, like, tries to act like he has his own thing, Agenda 47. That's just Project 2025, which isn't Trump's thing. It's the Heritage Foundation's thing. And there's a great article that I think everyone should read that came out about, it's a New York Times article. It's called Inside the Heritage Foundation's Plans for Institutionalizing Trumpism. And it's terrifying, but they're talking to the head of the Heritage Foundation. And the plan is not, we need Trump, right? That's the cult rhetoric. Trump thinks Trump needs Trump, not intelligent think tank Republicans. What's important is that what they like of Trump's vision is the authoritarianism, right? Consolidating power in the executive branch. That's what they want to do. It does not require Trump. That's the problem.
They like that he brings with him an army of people who will do and say anything that he does and says. Yeah, that's the only part of him that's really useful to them.
Exactly. And everyone should read that article, because they're basically saying that, like, we want to use like the bullshit that Trump believes in, and we want to make that mainstream. We want to consolidate the all the power in the executive branch, but then it's insert warm body here, warm Republican body here. It doesn't require a specific person. And that's the problem with Donald Trump's plan, is that he wants to be the person.
Yeah,
There's
he wants protection the rest of his life from the crimes that he appears to have absolutely committed. That's what this is about. When Donald Trump left office and almost immediately, said, like, I'm running again. It was when these charges were coming down. Remember, like, I think he announced right before the charges came or right after, but it's so transparent what Donald Trump is doing. And what's sad is, again, for those of you who are Republicans who, whatever, I think your ideas all suck. But you do have you should be allowed to have people who represent your views and who represent your best interests and who will fight for your best interests and give you a chance to win. And instead, you've been force-fed a loser, like a lifelong loser who just didn't fail upwards, literally just was handed a bunch of money and has kind of just puttered through life. Everything he tries, he winds up losing at. Even when he won the presidency, then he just immediately lost it and immediately lost all the support. You guys deserve better. You really do. You deserve better than Donald Trump. But it's like you don't have enough self-respect. Like,
he's weighing you down. Like, that's the truth. He's ruining that party.
You would not be part of another organization with a leader like this. It would be embarrassing to you. But for whatever reason, you still think this is a winning message. It's a winning guy. You deserve better. You should all demand better from the Republicans, and you're demanding worse. Like, this is a worse version of Trump. Cognitively, he's worse. His prescriptions are worse. His vindictiveness is worse. His intentions are worse. His motives are worse. Everything about Trump 2024 is a worse version of Trump 2016. You're getting the worst of the worst, and you love it. And that's sad. Honest to God, that's what it is. It's sad. It's sad that this many of you are cool with this type of representation.
And if someone in the comments asked, what again is that article called? It's called Inside the Heritage Foundation's Plans for Institutionalizing Trumpism. And like what this guy is, his name's Kevin D. Roberts, if you don't know who the head of the Heritage Foundation is, but he talks about how like they don't need, he doesn't need Trump, but they want what Trump wants. And it's about the same thing, like loyalty tests for the civil service. Like in their mind, Trump not having all the levers in place, all the right people in place, made it so some of that 4 years was wasted. Whereas now the Heritage Foundation will set it up so they already have the plan, right, for authoritarian control every time they get a Republican in that seat, and they'll be rearing to go.
The thing is, I think they're wrong about that. I think if you point to anything that Trump actually accomplished in his first term, it was because of the people around him, because of the career bureaucrats that were around him, because of the career politicians that were around him, because of the non-yes men that were around him. The things that he was able to accomplish, he was able to accomplish because people stepped in and used their connections across party lines to get things done. I think it's a huge miscalculation by the Heritage Foundation, by conservatives in general. I understand why they're trying to consolidate this power. And they think that 2024 is their last chance, or 2025, I guess, is their last chance to do it.
It's about stopping the checks and balances. I mean, that's what he's talking about.
Right, but it's desperate. Let's be honest about it. It's desperate.
But this is what you're not considering. As late-stage capitalism, the onset of late-stage capitalism, people are going to become more and more disgruntled. Scarcity in the economy creates unrest. And what they're trying to do now is stop people from being able to put the brakes on, right? Because authoritarian control, as we move forward in capitalism, it's going to benefit no one but the people at the top. So they don't want opinions. They don't want good people who notice. Like, if you listen to people who debate for capitalism, right? The ethical good ones, they debate for regulation of capitalism. They debate for there to be checks and balances. And that's how capitalism can remain a success. And the billionaire class does not want that.
I'm just saying, I think they're late. I think Project 2025 should have been Project 2017. That was peak support. That was peak Republican. That was peak Christian support, peak Republican support. You've lost that. The country since 2017 has gone more agnostic, more atheist. They've moved away from religion. They've moved away from conservatism. I think they missed it. I think they missed their window. Which is, and I hope I'm right. It'd be really awful if I'm wrong, but I think that the Heritage Foundation was just a little late on this one. And I don't think now, given who they have in power right now, I don't think they have the numbers. I don't think they have the votes. And I don't think that the Heritage Foundation's plan will work. I'm not saying that somebody else doesn't come along with a better answer later on, but I think that Project 2025 doesn't have the support that it needs to be put into place. Mostly because I don't think the Republican is going to be the executive. And it relies heavily on a Republican being the executive.
Well, the point is to have it in place. So when a Republican is elected, they have cut out a lot of the red tape and can save time. They no longer need to navigate the checks and balances to push things through. So yeah, I mean, if we can keep Republicans from being elected, but I think we are so immersed in politics, like people don't take Project 2025 seriously. I think that when you listen to this guy talk, the leader of the Heritage Foundation, they talk specifically, or the New York Times is talking about how there was a huge departure from the Heritage Foundation because this guy changed the game, like you're saying, right? But his argument is that he hasn't departed from Reagan and that peace through strength type thing. He's saying that he's actually still propping it up. But there was a huge fission, like a break in the Heritage Foundation, and a bunch of people resigned because they're like, what is this guy doing? This is going against who the Republicans are, because one of the things he backs is not supporting Ukraine, things like this. Like he's going against Reagan's peace through strength, which he is getting around by saying, no, I'm just advocating for more transparency. But yeah, there is a lot of question. It's a big departure from traditional Republican ideology. That's what we're seeing in the Republican Party. The face of it is changing.
I think that at least when you look at content that we view mostly online, I mean, outside of some Morning Joe clips that I, for some reason, make it into my feed every single day. I don't know why, because I don't really like Morning Joe. But when you look at the hysterics of right-wing media, I put up a video today of Patrick Bet-David, who is just a fucking loser. But him just like going on this rant about how our power grid is gonna collapse, and probably in 2024 because we're so afraid of Donald Trump being president. You look at Charlie Kirk losing his goddamn mind over the border, losing his mind over our inability now to inflict pain on people that come to our country, pushing replacement theory. Charlie Kirk has gone ultra Christian nationalist. I'm seeing the hysterics of the right wing, and to me it looks like the tail end of a cult. I keep bringing it up. Like I think we're at that part of the cult. I think we're at the near implosion of the cult. Because if you look historically, what happens is as things start collapsing in the cult, they cut off the outside, they consolidate that power inside, and the hysterics get worse. Because when you see things collapsing around you, you need an explanation for that. And the only explanation that's working now for conservatives is to say that Joe Biden is evil, that this is all a plan to keep Trump out, that with the great replacement theory. And it's gotten to a level of hysterics that I think the everyday American and the everyday Republican, those outside of the MAGA sphere of influence, are saying like, no, that's fucking crazy. And the MAGA, the idea that MAGA is a cult, that's not an unpopular opinion anymore. Even within the Republican Party, there are plenty of people that you're going to find agreements with there. That you heard Ron DeSantis say it, and obviously he capitulated and went back to the cult. But you're hearing people stand up and actually point out that this is that it's gotten crazy, and that's where I think like you need a second movement. You had the Tea Party movement, and I think that's likely what the Heritage Foundation thought was going to carry them, and it didn't. And then you have the MAGA movement, and it's not. And I think the reason for that is that nobody, like, as American people, like, we just don't care that much about God anymore. We don't care that much about religion anymore.
It's not it's not a unifier like it was, right, for sure. And I just want to be clear, that is what's happening with the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation has veered off, and when they're talking about institutionalizing Trumpism, that's institutionalizing an authoritarian vision. It's the departure from democracy, the checks and balances of a democratic government. It's saying, let's depart from that and let's just have a ready-made authoritarian control plan that whenever we get a Republican in that seat, we put it into play. And so, yeah, like you're absolutely right. Like, can that carry the Republican Party? I think a lot of Republicans would say that they're still interested in democracy and the checks and balances of it.
I'm just trying. Yeah, I want to issue hope because I really do. I've changed my opinion a lot, but I actually think that this election going into 2024, everything I'm seeing, every indicator I'm seeing with MAGA is that this will be an embarrassing failure for MAGA. I don't see any evidence that MAGA is trending in the right direction. And for those Republicans that are here, please, we are taking opposition day. You can come up and talk to us about any of this. You can tell me.
Yeah, guys, tap the screen. Let's get to 110K and let's invite some Republicans.
Make those fingers bleed. Okay. We're happy to have you, but and I don't know, Felice. Maybe I say this a lot, and I actually want to know your honest opinion on this. I think the MAGA movement is dying, and I think we're headed for the end of MAGA and culturally the Republicans coming together and having to make some difficult decisions about what their message is going to be going forward. I think we see a complete restructuring of the Republican Party in the next 4 to 6 years, and I think that they come out of that with less harsh stances on things like abortion, on things like wokeism. I think they've got to have a more receptive immigration policy. I don't know if you feel the same way, but to me, I've never felt like the MAGA stuff was less popular. I think this is the least popular it's ever been.
I just don't think, like, the problem with being led by a malignant narcissist is he didn't create it's the ultimate selfish nature, right? He's not creating a movement that can last, that can be inherited by another person. This is the man who didn't want his son to be named Donald Jr. because he was worried he would embarrass him. His own flesh and blood is not good enough to be an heir apparent. Like, yeah, this movement is centered around a cult of personality. Their leader is Donald Trump, and Donald Trump himself wants this movement to begin and end with him. So yeah, when you're saying there's no future, there's no path forward for a movement run by someone that will not hand over the reins, doesn't want anyone to listen to anybody but him. That only ends in the Jim Jones. You know what I mean? That only ends in the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, what you have to look for, and this is why I feel confident, is that you have to look for a charismatic leader, somebody who can take the MAGA mantle and move it along while celebrating who MAGA was, who Donald Trump was, celebrate him as the savior that they believe he is, and create a new movement that like can adapt to the new social norms. Like you see this with David Miscavige with Scientology. You had L. Ron Hubbard, like he was kind of crazy, right? And when David Miscavige took over, David Miscavige was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get celebrities. I'm going to get Tom Cruise. I'm going to do interviews. I'm going to go on the attack here. And I'm going to make sure that people think that the crazy stuff that we absolutely believe, that we don't actually believe that anymore. And he did a great job of changing the narrative. Brigham Young with the Mormon Church, he did the same thing. Joseph Smith dies. Brigham Young's like, all right, guys, here's the deal. We're going west. We're going to go west. And I'm going to make all these bold predictions. And I'm going to open us up to more political. I'm going to give us more extreme views. And I'm going to insulate us as we travel west. And I'm going to put you in a place where we're insulated. I think the Miscavige way is the way that works. And who's the charismatic leader that is going to step up and take those reins? I think that MAGA folk hope it's Vivek, because it's the closest thing they've had to Donald Trump. It's somebody who's super wealthy, says all the crazy things, but Vivek is despised. And by the way, brown, that's a problem.
I was gonna say, you can't, like we always say, you can't get the Republican vote. There's not enough votes without the who's.
Is it Elon? Again, I don't think Elon has any desire to lead a movement like that. And I don't think
he was born in South Africa, so it's definitely not
necessarily
Elon
being president, but like somebody leading the movement. It potentially, I mean, he could be a senator, but yeah, I just don't see that charismatic leader who's going to step in, take over MAGA, and go the next direction. I hope to God they think that it's in the family, like some of those crazies think, and they just hand it over to Don Jr. That'd be terrific. He'll run that shit into the ground immediately. Whatever PAC money you have, that is going to a snow party. We're just going to go play in the snow. That's what Don Jr. is going to do with that.
Yeah, I don't think, like, as far, like I said, Donald Trump doesn't want the movement to continue. He wants it to be centered around him. Even after he's gone, he wants people to believe that no one could do it like him. Like, there's just, that's the nature of that.
Well, I mean, that's why I said that's very similar to L. Ron Hubbard and David Miscavige.
Yeah.
And David Miscavige has continued to prop up L. Ron Hubbard while actually doing whatever the fuck he wants, and he just pretends that this is what L. Ron wanted. L. Ron wanted it. Like, we're doing this in the memory of L. Ron, and here's my boy Tom Cruise. He's going to also tell you about L. Ron. That's what it would take, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree. So we shall see. But yeah, I think, and like, I just want to challenge everyone to think about this. The Catholic Church, like, people hate change. The Catholic Church, the beginning of Christianity, has been an institution. But the only reason the Catholic Church is going to continue on, number one, they're holding the largest real estate portfolio on earth. And number two is change, right? That Pope is the new Pope. The Pope now sees, like, these ideas. It's the same way that somehow the Christian church moved away from, we should be able to own slaves, even though the Old Testament is a direction to owning slaves, is literally the how-to manual of slavery. But somehow they had to leave that behind because times they were changing and you couldn't own humans. And that's what the Pope is doing now. He sees the writing on the wall. If we want to maintain our power, we got to give up on this, the LGBTQ can't get married, like, time's marching on, we better start blessing these people, and let me talk to, like, the socialists and the Marxists, because this is a similar message to Jesus. Like, Jesus was a socialist. Like, he sees the writing on the wall and is willing to pivot and to change. If the MAGA movement won't pivot and change and say, I don't know, accept brown people, leave the replacement theory behind, all of these things, then it will die. Change is necessary in survival, evolution.
Yeah. Well, what they've done is they like, white nationalism has been precipitously becoming more unpopular over decades. I mean, if you talked about the 60s, it was a legitimate movement, and whether people were part of the movement or not, there was a significant number of people in this country that agreed with that white national movement. And as it's faded away, its popularity has faded away. Now its power structures, the systematic way that they spread their power, that has largely stayed in place, because every time we try and do something about it, conservatives fight back. But that's the fatal error of this MAGA group. Is Donald Trump rightfully in 2016, he didn't do a good job, but he did a good enough job distancing himself from white nationalists. You couldn't make the direct connection outside of Stephen Miller, and nobody really seemed. We tried to make that point on Stephen Miller. Nobody cares about Stephen Miller. Nobody thinks he has any influence. But now Donald Trump, since his last presidency, has openly endorsed white nationalism, and those white nationalists are making the party more and more unpopular. You no longer can look at the MAGA movement and say, it's for sure not a white nationalist movement. In fact, it's very difficult to make the counter argument at this point, where before I did feel like, when pointing out that there were white nationalists around, I did feel like maybe that's unfair, because at least there was, like, some gray area there was some deniability, but now there's none. And I think that that's where MAGA is fucked up, and that's why I think I see the extremism coming out of the Tim Pools and the Charlie Kirks and the Tucker Carlsons. Like, they have taken a sharp right turn into extremism, and I think it's because that's their audience. That's where they're going to go. But I think that they are overestimating how big that audience is. I think they're allured by the fact that they've picked up people like Elon Musk, that they seem to have an in with the UFC and Dana White. Like, they feel like they've picked up these Joe Rogans, these influential characters, and I think that they are misdiagnosing it. I think that they are wrong, and I think that they have taken this turn into conspiracy and white nationalism, and I think that they overestimated the amount of support that is going to garner for them.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, this is Trump's strategies, which he doesn't need this to stay together for that long. That's the problem, right? Like, he used like white nationalist groups like to, let's say, consolidate power on January 6th, right? Like, they're all in a group chat called Friends of Stone. Like, this wasn't, he needed to stay, he wanted to stay in power. These aren't long-term genius plans. That's the problem. Anyways,
somebody
let's
asked
tap
if
the
we
screen.
covered.
Let's get to 125K. And again, Republicans love to chat with you. We're waiting.
Wait, so I'll answer Cyborg's question. I appreciate it. Cyborg, I saw that. I actually kept seeing your question, and I thought my comments were broken. So you were spamming. It's fine. Don't worry about that. I'll answer the question. I'm not advocating that it continue, but pretending that the things that happen with MAGA aren't happening and ignoring them, it doesn't work. One of the criticisms that Felice and I get the most from the left and from people sometimes in the Discord, and it happens, is that we platform bad ideas, or we platform people with dangerous ideas, or we spend or we're too respectful of, not respectful, what's the way, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like we see what MAGA's doing, and we try and call balls and strikes. We try and say, like, is this effective or is it not? Not do we agree with this, but more like just watching it play out, and we try our best to look at the whole picture and decide, like, is this effective or is it not? And that's what I'm trying to say with MAGA. I think Felice and I disagree on this. I think I probably think it's dead more than you do. I think you're more prone to think that, like, I'm probably too hopeful. Am I right about that?
No, I think that in order for all I have said, which I think every position I've ever taken is extremely clear. So look, I think I can't be more clear. I can't be more clear on my beliefs. But the point is the survival of the Catholic Church over thousands of years has happened through adapting and change, such as when the time is right, saying, oh yeah, we can't still be advocating for slavery. We have to march on from that. Same thing now with LGBTQ marriage. The point is, in survival, evolution over time requires adapting and change. If you when you are not willing to adapt and change, adapt or die is a phrase for a reason, then you become extinct. So, either change or you will not survive over time.
So maybe I'm misreading it. So are you, when you're talking about how Donald Trump won't cede that power, he doesn't want to give that up, are you saying that you think the MAGA movement just dies with Trump and then something else rises from the ashes? Or do you think there's some sort of transition that can work?
I can't be more clear. First of all,
maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. I'm missing
Trump
it.
does not want to survive. For Trump, his movement begins and ends with Trump. He's a malignant narcissist. That is the belief that you are God, that there's no higher power than you. There's no heir apparent. There's nobody that can come in and take over in Trump's mind. He does not want there to be a continuation. He wants everyone to remember we had one savior. Nobody could ever do it like him again. Now, what happens with the MAGA movement after Trump is not up to Trump. He won't be around. But changing, adapting over time is the only way anything can survive. You must change.
That's what, I guess that's, maybe I'm doing a bad job asking the question. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen after, and that's why I brought up the L. Ron Hubbard stuff. Like, I'm trying to figure out, is there a way MAGA moves on or lives on with Trump as like the savior, that maybe there will be like a second, maybe him and JFK Jr. will come back with Jesus and fight in Armageddon. I don't, like, just all holding hands. Or do you think that it will be that, like, MAGA dies and there will be a new movement, like, that isn't referencing Trump all the time? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask. Do you think a new movement will form, or do you think somebody's going to step in and try and just like continue to keep Trump elevated as this Lord and Savior, and then continue the MAGA movement?
Well, I would say that I think it's kind of obvious. Like, the one thing we just saw from this election and in the primary is these people are not allowed to say the truth, right? It's about accepting delusion. You're not allowed to say Trump is responsible for 25% of the national debt. You can't say anything real. You can't disparage Trump in any way. So I think the Trump base that is super loyal to Trump, not to any policies, but specifically to a man, are probably not going to stand for somebody disparaging him. I don't think that in the future, when such a huge part of the Republican base reveres Trump, I don't ever think it's going to be a strategy probably to disparage him. Now, for the rest of the country, that's not the case, and people are dealing in facts, right? It's a non-starter if you won't say the truth. So it just depends. But if you want to be the candidate for Trump's base, then probably no. You're just going to let him be gone and not disparage him.
That makes sense. Okay, gotcha. So maybe he lives on in like a Reagan-esque way where you reference the good times, but you're not necessarily like deifying or remember Reagan for a long, even now, like you're not really allowed to say bad things about Reagan in the Republican Party.
As time passes on, things become irrefutable. And we're in the Reagan era where it's become irrefutable that he ran this effing country into the ground. Like 1980 Satan ruined this country. But right when Reagan was first gone, you couldn't say a bad word about the man because the data, decades hadn't gone by and we couldn't see like, oh, every single policy this man put into place ran our economy into the ground. But now we have empirical data that we can literally show Reagan's policies ruin this country. So it's less debatable now. Now, as people's emotions, time goes on, people are no longer with us who were such ardent supporters of Trump. You can say the truth about him. Time heals all wounds, and the emotions die, and you start looking at data points, and then the story is the story.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would just say this, that like as important as it is for me, I don't want to speak for Felice, as important as it is to move in a progressive direction, in my opinion, that's left, right? It as important as that is, it is important that we have at least two strong parties. I prefer 3 or 4 or 5. Like it does matter. We do not want a uniparty. We do not want the Republican Party to go away but we need the Republican Party to be sane. We need them to act as the brakes, but right now they're like 2 foot on the brakes and pulling the emergency, and they've also like cut the power to your car. That's what they're doing. But where previously it was like the Republicans were able to act as a brake, which allowed our country not to move so quickly to the left that it caused division. Like there at times was this balance as we tried to move left, where it sucks because it slows progress, and progress never happens as quickly as we like. But that's who the Republican Party was, and we need at least that. And so that's why for me that I want to talk about this. That's why I want to look into the future of what the Republican Party means, because when Trump is gone, and I fully accept everybody who has thrown the Trump people out of their life. I've done the same thing. I understand that like at some point a lot of these Trump folks, like you just can't talk to them anymore. And you are viewed as the enemy. I had this discussion with my ex, one of her really good friends and husband, like we used to go on vacations with, and then we stopped before we split up, and now I don't really associate with them because every day on Facebook they're saying that Democrats are P3DOs and that these liberals are trying to attack their kids, and I'm like, what do you want me to do with that? How can I still be friends with them? How can I show up and go grab a beer with somebody who literally says that my ideology is putting my own child at risk? That like my ideologies is making my child less safe, when I know, by the way, their kids are at like American Leadership Academy, which is run by an absolute crook here in Phoenix. It's a Christian school. They're currently involved in a cover up from the Gilbert Goons, where you had this group of kids who were going around just like beating the shit out of people. They unalived one kid, and the school's covering it up because they don't want their name to be tarnished. They have multiple coaches who have been caught up in controversies, whether it be drugs or whether it become SA. Like, I'm looking at their life and I'm like, in your life, you are putting your kids in danger. And how am I supposed to cope with that? So I get that. But I also see a world where when Trump leaves, like, maybe I can get some of those people back in my life. Maybe we can coexist again. Maybe, like, we can sit down and have a discussion over a beer and we can talk about, like, what is universal health care good? Like, what are the pros and cons? What don't you like? But we can't do that now. So that's why, for me, at least today, like, and maybe it's just because it's the first time I've sat through a Trump rally and maybe I'm too hopeful, but just watching that, it makes me sad. It makes me sad that we have this much divisiveness. My DMs are full of people that are in this audience right now telling me every single day, I'm getting a message from somebody that says, like, yeah, I don't talk to my family anymore. I was disowned by my family. I'm not going to drop names, but somebody told me that they named their child after their friend. That friend was made their godmother, and once Trump came along, that person removed them from their life. Their best friend, they named their child after, and that was their godmother. And because they couldn't agree on Trump, that person removed them from their life. So for me, like, that's the hope, and that's why I want to discuss these things. I don't want Trump to end. I don't want MAGA to end, and me go to all these MAGA friends and family members or people we've interacted with here and say, like, there's no path back. Like, you're fucked forever. I will never trust you again. Like, I want to open those lines of communication back up and see if we can heal. I think healing the divide is important. As important as policies are, like, healing that divide is very, very important to me.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree with that, and I think time heals all wounds. But you also need to, like, we can't sit here and look at the data around cults and, like, what's going on, and then also have no empathy towards it. You know, so I definitely agree. Like, this is not, it's science around cults. Like, literally, there's a block in the brain when they hear information outside of the accepted narrative, and they physically cannot retain information any longer. So if you follow, like, science, then yeah, like, there has to be a path forward for us. And we also can't allow a man who's part of the 1% to divide us. And, like, at the end of the day, the reality is we are all still being robbed blind by the same people. Like, we are all on the same team, whether we want to be or not. Like, we're all stuck in the same position. Unless you're part of the donor class, the 1%, we're all in the same place. And we all have to use our collective bargaining power, right? To either generally strike, stop consuming things in the US, something like that. Like, that's where our power lies, is as a collective.
It's one of the things I love about you, one of the things that you've taught me, and it's also one of the things that you get criticized for, is that you, like, continuously reach across ideologies, and you do a really good job of specifically of seeing the best in people who maybe come from a scenario that you can understand, right? Somebody who's been indoctrinated or somebody who's been abused, and they wind up, like, attaching themselves to this abusive situation or these abusive politics because it's what they know, it's what they were raised with, it's what it's comfort. Even though it's awful, it's comfortable to them. And that's one of the things that you've taught me. But it's one of the things that I love about you. And I think that there are people like yourself who need to step forward. Like, when this MAGA shit ends, like, we need more people like Felice. We need more people following that direction where we're going to reach back across the aisle. And there's going to be people that like Felice that are going to be like, hey, it's fine. Like, it's fine. You were just in a cult. It's fine. Come back to earth.
We're playing a numbers game, right? And we don't have any of the gold, right? We don't have the money. We don't have the data that is like gold. We're not sitting on any of that stuff. All of our power is in the collective. So why would we chop off half of our collective and our collective bargaining power? Like, we don't have a choice. We have a huge battle we actually have to face, you know, the real people who are robbing us blind. And the more of us there are together, voting together, striking together, whatever the case may be, the more power that we have, right? And that's the reality. And so I remember, like, right after, you know, the like January 6th and all that stuff. If we ever talked, because when the rise of the Never Trumpers, I don't know who remembers this on the internet, but there was a time when the Never Trumpers were starting to make themselves known, you know, and say, oh no, like the Lincoln Project people were like, no, I'm jumping off this train. And I remember Democrats, people on the left were so angry and just like, you can't jump off this train. You drove this train to where it is. So now you go down. But that's not reasonable. That we have to peel off numbers. And now we're seeing, you know what I'm saying? We have to peel off the Never Trumpers. As people see the light, there has to be a path back to sanity, because otherwise we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. We're diluting our own power.
Look, I was peeled off. I can't hold that. Like, there are things that I will probably never. There's things that I remember. I was thinking about this the other day. I wish I could. I know the Twitter's deleted, but I remember one time I worked for a D League team, and I don't remember what it was, but I know I tweeted something insensitive on MLK Day, and I still to this day can't. I wish I could remember what it was, but my boss called me in and he was like, "Hey, I saw your Twitter." He's like, you can't post shit like that. And I was like, I don't get it. What did I say that was wrong? It was just a joke. Everybody knows that it was a joke. I don't even remember what it was, but it was the first time in my life. I was in my 20s, like 23, 24 years old. It was the first time in my life that I actually understood that there could possibly be an impact from a joke that I made that was racist. And I remember just thinking through it, like, I never thought that was, like, when I wrote it, I didn't think it was racist, but then it was. And I had to deal with that. And I had a boss that I loved that job, so I couldn't really fight back with that boss. Also, every member of the team, besides, like, I think maybe we had like one or two white guys on the team. Every member of our team was black. Half the coach was black. And it was a tiny organization. There were like 10 of us that ran the whole thing. That's it. Like, and so it was the first time in my life I realized that. And so sometimes when people see that I'll reach out and I'll talk to people from the other side of the aisle, it's because I do have hope. Because I didn't realize the things that I was saying. I didn't realize the impact. I didn't realize the internalized racism and internalized misogyny in other jokes. I still struggle with it. I still have to ask myself, I will probably mess up again. But like, I know what it's like to be racist and not know you're racist. I know what that feels like. I know that in my head, I didn't think I was. So I have to have empathy. And I also know what it's like to leave a cult and to be duped. So I have to have empathy there. So when this cult dies, like empathy, all the things that we criticize MAGA for not having, how good are we if when this dies, we decide not to be empathetic and not to have sympathy? We're no better if we take that route when this thing dies. But again, I'm good with right now. I understand. Right now, you might have to keep your distance. Well, it may not be the time.
Yeah, and that's not, just to clarify, nobody is telling anybody who to have in their inner circle, right? That's a personal choice, right? If someone's not enriching your life, they don't need to be there. That's not what we're talking about. But like, as an educator, as a teacher, I don't choose who to teach, you know, and none of the rest, it's not my choice. Like, you know, like education, it should be available to everyone, and people decide to educate themselves at different points in life. Like, that's my personal opinion on that. Guys, we need to tap the screen. Let's tap the screen. Let's get to 140K. Let's invite some Republicans, and maybe we can talk to someone.
Did you have Tucker's tweet, or do you want me to read that? Did you see his tweet last night?
He tweeted many times last night. Which one? Okay. He had cat turd on. Are you talking about that episode? Like, so it's not like he tweets once a day. Which tweet? I mean, yeah. Did I watch the cat turd episode? Is that what you're asking?
Why is cat turd exactly what we all thought cat turd looked like?
Oh my God! He's a man from the backwoods of Florida, of course. Why am I not surprised?
So this is more of that replacement theory shit, and I don't know if Tucker believes this or not, but I definitely know that this is the direction he's taken for marketing. But this is the kind of like hysteria that you get from the right that just doesn't, you read it doesn't make any sense. So it's unanimous. Everyone in power, from the White House to the hedge fund managers to the Supreme Court of the United States, has decided to destroy the country by allowing it to be invaded. That leaves the population to defend itself. Where are the men of Texas? Why aren't they protecting their state and the nation? From
Oh yeah, I did see that. I put that in the outline somewhere.
Fucking what? From what this is worth fighting for?
From the women who are trying to get their children across the river. That's who.
That's the inhumanity that you saw in every atrocity that's been levied across this world. It's the indifference by those who follow. That's when you know that a movement is dangerous. They don't care. You could have the people of Texas standing on the banks of those rivers just open fire on immigrants, and Republicans largely would agree with it. They'd be like, well, yeah, that's just the way it is. People like it's so bizarre to have that be your neighbors, your friends, your family, to get to a point now where they're just like, yeah, this is what we have to do. You have the meme that goes up all the time is you have pictures of the White House covered in barbed wire, which in the Capitol building covered in barbed wire to protect it. And they're like, oh, so this is legal, but this isn't? Yeah, because one of them you have to climb to the top of the fence. The other one is hidden in water. You don't see the difference there? Or at the banks of a river when you're escaping persecution. Nobody was escaping persecution trying to find shelter in the Capitol. But again, Republicans don't care because all they have to do is connect barbed wire and barbed wire just to show that we're the crazy ones. That's what's wild. I don't understand Republicans. If you're here, please explain to us how we're the crazy ones, because we don't want children shredded to bits with barbed wire while they're swimming across a river that already has undercurrents. It's already cold. They're already risking their lives. Please tell us why we're crazy that we don't think that those people also need to be cut up by razor wire.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely delusional. Chip Roy, let's see, here's Chip Roy's tweet. This opinion is unconscionable, and Texas should ignore it on behalf of the agents who will be put in a worse position by the opinion and the Biden administration's policies. And then the House Judiciary, the Democrats' House Judiciary Twitter handle responded. He's like, the new chair of the House Judiciary Constitution Subcommittee. That's right. Chip Roy was made the chair by Jim Jordan of a subcommittee where they talk about upholding the Constitution.
Judiciary. Yeah. He's literally saying,
and he's saying, ignore the Constitution.
Ignore the courts. Ignore them. That's what our Constitution's here for. They're the ones that are supposed to make that ruling, but ignore them. And that's where that's the MAGA movement. Anything that they don't like is unconstitutional and should just be ignored. The party of law and order has descended into to do whatever the fuck you want. And whatever the courts say, do the opposite. It's almost gotten to that point where whatever the main narrative is, wherever the data lies, wherever the population lies on their opinion, MAGA just takes the opposite on everything. It's become bizarro. Think of anything you can think of, anything scientific, anything medical related, and think of the overwhelming data on one side, and you'll almost always find that the MAGA folks are now on that other side of it. They believe only the minority of evidence now. Or the minority of the court.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another case. It's another example of why there's no point in executive orders, because what we saw with Remain in Mexico is eventually executive orders go through what? The court system.
I think your friend Bushmaster's here to tell you about secession. Do you want to talk to Bushmaster?
Okay. I mean, sure.
There goes the chat.
Guess who's on top today?
You're a bottom.
Oh my goodness. How did I get on bottom?
Yeah.
I am oppressed. This is not right.
That's right. MAGA
I'm on
oppression.
bottom. This is oppression.
Oppression.
Yeah.
Tell us how you're impressed.
I got a picture for you guys. I want y'all to give me your opinion on this picture.
Oh, Lord. Don't get me banned. Don't do something. This isn't something crazy. That is the exact picture I was just looking at. What did I just say? Yeah, let's talk about that.
What the hell, bro? They say a picture has 1,000 words.
That one has 2 words. Legal and illegal.
No. That
What's the difference
words
between those 2 pictures?
What's the difference?
Yep.
One's at the border, one's at the White House.
What's the one at the White House trying to keep people from doing?
Keeping people away from the White House and Capitol.
What people?
The American people.
Okay, are those American people that were at the White House, were they fleeing persecution? Were they trying to find safe harbor within that's not the White House, by the way. That's
the Capitol.
The Capitol.
Yeah, I said the Capitol.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know how far that stretches. I don't know if it went around the White House or
It's
not.
fine. Hold on. It's fine. Were people fleeing persecution and needed to get to the Capitol so they could be safe?
This was after.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy question. Was that barbed wire up there to prevent people who were seeking safe harbor? Was that barbed wire up there to prevent people who were looking for safety from getting to safety? Or was that barbed wire at the Capitol there for people who were trying to do harm to the Capitol?
Oh, you think it was there to prevent people from doing harm to the Capitol?
Yeah, what do you think it was there for?
Huh.
What do you think it was there for?
Interesting.
Yeah, I know it's interesting. You're dodging this question. Why do you think it was there?
Why do I think it was there?
Yeah.
I think it was there to keep people who paid for that goddamn building away from their own goddamn building. And I think that's bullshit.
What were they going to do in the building?
Right, well, that's neither here nor there.
No, it's here.
No.
And there. No, it's relevant. It's relevant. But this is what I'm saying. This is what you guys do.
Security.
If we're going to talk nuance, you guys got. Hold on, I'm not done talking. Hold on, brother. If we're going to talk nuance, if you're going to have a real discussion, we have to be able to have an honest discussion about what the difference is between the picture on the left and the picture on the right. If you're going to use it as proof and you're going to say legal, illegal, let's have a nuanced discussion about what the differences are.
Well, let's look at similarities. Both of them are in the United States, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so what is similar about the United States?
What's similar? You can't say similar
about these
when
two
you're
places,
comparing one
about
thing.
these two places, what is similarities about these two places in the United States?
They're in the United States.
They both have to follow the United States federal constitution, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Article 4, Section 4 says that they're supposed to protect the borders of each state of the country. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Okay, so why is it okay to protect the Capitol, but it's not okay to protect the border?
Well, nobody said you. Well, hold on. Wait. Nobody said you can't protect the border.
Say what?
Nobody said you can't protect the border. What are you talking about?
You just made an assumption like they can't.
No, I didn't. No, in fact, what I said is what the ruling is that you can't hide barbed wire in a river and along the banks.
That's
of the
not
river.
barbed wire.
Excuse me, razor wire. Sorry, razor wire.
Well, I mean, you can call it that, but that's not.
What do you want to call it?
What? It's called concertina wire.
Which does what?
Concertina wire?
What happens if you try and crawl through that?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay, gotcha. So what the Supreme Court ruled is that a state, by the way, this land, see where that person is? That is not Texas land. You understand that, right? Texas does not own that land. Are you allowed to go on your neighbor's land and put up dangerous wiring?
How do you know they don't own that land?
Because the United States federal government owns the land at the border.
And where is
it at?
It's
not Texas land.
And where is it at?
It's on the border. Just outside of Texas's land.
And where is that?
Well, this particular border is just south of Texas.
Which connects to Texas, which would make it part of Texas, correct?
Oklahoma connects to Texas. Is Oklahoma part of Texas?
Not at the border, no.
Okay, is Arkansas part of Texas?
So if
the answer to all of those questions is no. This isn't Texas land.
So sure.
Hold on.
I said I agree.
Hold on.
Sure.
Wait for what?
Wait for me to agree some more?
Yeah, is DC
Like,
part of
what are you talking
Virginia?
about?
Is DC part of Virginia?
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's why they have their own
it's
National
connected,
Guard.
but it's not by border. That's my
there
point,
is
though.
a border. There is a border around every state.
So if the government fails to do Article 4, Section 4,
they're not.
If they fail to do that,
they're not.
The states have a right to step up and defend their borders, correct?
They can defend their border. This is not their border. This is the federal border. This isn't their border.
Okay, so they're not part of the United States?
Oh my God, dude. I don't know if you know how lines work. I'm a little concerned. There is a small strip of land that stretches from.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but you don't understand what I'm saying.
How could you possibly be talking when I haven't finished my sentence yet? There is a small strip of land from the Pacific Ocean in California all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. And that specific land, that little parcel of land that stretches all the way across is federal land. When you're in California, California doesn't own that land. When you're in Arizona, Arizona doesn't own that land. When you're in New Mexico, New Mexico doesn't own that land. When you're in Texas, Texas doesn't own that land. They have no right. This is what the Supreme Court simply ruled, that the state of Texas has no right to go on federal land and put up barbed wire. That's all they ruled here. Nobody has ruled that you can't protect the border. Nobody has ruled that you can't have barbed wire. There's barbed wire down at the border in Arizona. There's barbed wire all across the border. The ruling is that
you mean concertina wire?
I don't give a shit. The rule is that Texas doesn't get to do whatever the fuck they want on land that isn't theirs. That's the ruling. But you guys love hurting women and children. It's like your favorite thing to do. And you're so bummed out now that these women and children crossing the border here, swimming across the border, won't be allowed to be shredded.
Where do you get that from? Like to hurt women and children?
Oh, because every policy you guys advocate for hurts women and children, and you don't care.
Like what?
Putting barbed wire in a river.
A woman and her two children just drowned 2 weeks ago.
Well, why in the hell would she try and cross concertina wire?
See, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, it's her fault.
It's always the woman's fault. Yeah, you guys care so much about women and children, but if they die,
she was asking for it, seeking asylum for her and her two children, running from persecution. She was asking for it, guys. We women, we know the drill. Look, I forgot I got these red flags so I can hold it. Well,
the better question is, why would she actually run into that? I mean, that's just asinine. I mean, that's like seeing a fire. That's like seeing a fire.
Bushmaster, why do you think?
I won't run through that.
Bushmaster, why do you think?
Wait, a good idea.
Wait, hold on. Why do you think people? Why do you think people would risk their lives to get to America?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Because they were told a lie about a bullshit American dream that doesn't exist anymore, and they're trying to get here to get to something that doesn't exist.
Okay, so just to be clear, you're just going to ignore the fact that these are people escaping persecution, right? We're going to ignore that, right?
All of them are?
I didn't say all of them.
Because I think they caught 160 terrorists. They caught one guy on camera.
No, like people on the terrorist watch list. That's
yes, on the terrorist watch list. Sorry.
Does that make you a terrorist if you're on the terrorist watch list?
One guy, he said, "You don't know who I am."
Wait,
but soon you will. What do you think he meant by that?
Wait. If you're on the terrorist watch list, does that make you a terrorist?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. In fact, most of the time, no, right? Most of the time when people on the terrorist watch list are caught, they're released, right? There's no evidence that they're terrorists, right?
Well, there's no evidence that they've committed a terror act.
Okay, which is what makes you a terrorist.
Well, you have to commit an act to be a terrorist, yeah.
Right.
But there can be a threat that could be considered a terrorist act under the Patriot Act, I think.
Great.
Which is dumb, which I don't agree with the Patriot Act.
The Patriot Act, it literally took away freedoms, right? It convicted people before they had actually committed a crime. It gave permissions to the government to investigate people. There was no evidence they did anything wrong. That's why, remember, it's so funny that MAGA people are upset about, the FBI, there was a memo about them going after the Latin Mass Catholics. But no, you never hear anything about about when the FBI started infiltrating mosques? People practicing religious freedom, which is a tenet
they went
of America. Never
they went in on
anything about that. It's fine when they're undercover infiltrating mosques, right?
You remember
That's
that?
fine.
You remember that?
But that's fine. No, it's just hypocrisy. You don't like the Patriot Act, then where's the energy for the FBI infiltrating the mosques? But not only Christians get religious freedom. I forgot about that.
Really?
Like Bushmaster,
Are you sure about that?
My real question is: at what point are you going to stop allowing yourself to be totally indoctrinated by fear? Like, at what point are you going to is the border open? Absolutely not. Felice sent this yesterday. There were two. The Biden administration.
Wait, if it's not open, then why did it?
I wasn't done. That was the middle of my sentence. That was the middle of my sentence again. The Biden administration has physically removed more migrants from the United States than any administration in history. There were almost 2.5 million Title 42 expulsions under Biden. That's 35 times as many expulsions as people put into remain in Mexico under Trump. How are you going to explain to me that the administration who has physically removed more migrants than any administration in history, 35 times more than Donald Trump's administration, has open borders?
So listen to what percentage
of people. You know what percentage of people that
so Trump had open borders by your own logic.
Listen to what you just said.
You know what percentage of people that ask for asylum are granted asylum?
Did you listen to what you just said? At the very beginning, you said the border is not open. Then you turned around and said Biden has got more out of here. How can he get more out of here if the border ain't open?
Because they catch him at the border, you potato.
No, they don't, potato.
Where do you think they catch him at? Where do you think these are coming from?
They catch them all over the country, do they not?
Oh my God!
You're not getting it, Bushmaster. You're not understanding the logic. You can't even follow the line of logic we're following.
Brother, the reason we know the numbers of people coming across the border is because we're catching them, or they're looking for asylum. All the numbers that you guys cite, the reason we know those is because those are people who have been stopped at a border. That means the border. If the border was open, we wouldn't know how many people came in. We would have no idea. If the border was open, we wouldn't be giving people a number and a court date and saying, here's when you need to come back. The border is not open. I don't know why you allow yourself to be so poorly informed. Whoever you're listening to, they are fucking stupid. And they're just getting you in your feelings so that you can show up every day and rail against immigrants. But you're just being lied to, and I don't get it. Why do you allow yourself to be made to look so stupid day after day after day? It's not open.
Bro.
Let me make the point. Let me just explain it another way, because this might help. If the border's wide open now, Bushmaster, by your logic, if the border is wide open now, and no president in history has removed more people from this country than Joe Biden, then Trump failed guarding the border. And in Trump's own rhetoric and your guys' beliefs, nobody was tougher on the border and on immigration. And the facts fly in the face of what Trump says. He failed. Nobody has, if you guys are measuring the border by getting these people out of here, and that's the success of the border, then nobody has done a better job to date than Joe Biden. Donald Trump failed you by your own qualifications. That's what we're trying to tell you.
I disagree.
With what?
Because I think I wasn't in the Supreme Court that made Biden put the Remain in Mexico back in place. I think that's what.
That didn't happen. Remain in Mexico has been removed. Title 42. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Title 42 is not in place right now.
Biden lifted it, and then I think, or it went to the Supreme Court. I can't remember if they made him.
The evidence, the way we figure this out is I ask you, is Title 42 still in place?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, then no. Then no. They didn't put it back in place, did they?
Mm-hmm.
And in any case, I'll answer your question, because I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You're saying he wanted Title 42 gone sooner.
Why does this ABC
it was gone.
News,
no, listen to me. There's a difference between enforcement, Title 42, and he enforced it, right?
Why does
He
it
deported
say
people
Biden
more
administration
than Trump.
reimposes remain in Mexico policy January 3rd, 2022? This is ABC News.
Say the name of what you're reading again so I can look it up.
Biden administration reimposes remain in Mexico policy January 3, 2022.
Did you say reimposes?
Yes, reimposes.
Yeah, what's your question?
That's our point. That's what
I don't understand what your question is here.
reimposes reimposes means he was using the policy. You understand what reimposes means he was using remain in Mexico to deport people. That's what we're telling you. For someone, you guys think Biden is like, oh, welcome here, and I'm not going to enforce anything, and I just want everyone to come here. He threw more people out than Trump. That's what we're trying under remain in Mexico. He was using that to get people out of here more than Trump ever did. That's what we're trying to tell you. You don't want these people here? Well, the president of the United States, Joe Biden, has done more of that, has deported more people than any president in history. He's getting your job done. I actually don't like what he's doing. He's now agreeing to a deal with Senate Republicans where there's no pathway to citizenship. Nobody has ever helped your cause more. And you guys are sitting here not understanding what's happening.
And by the way, this article is what happened is Biden wanted to end the remain in Mexico policy. And they wanted to go to the courts and they wanted to end the remain in Mexico policy, which they eventually did. What this article is talking about is the fact that they're saying that they are trying to end this, but until they end this, this is how they're going to roll out the remain in Mexico policy. This was a conference call. This is a report that is recapping a conference call with reporters of them explaining, because this policy is still in place, because we have not been able to remove it yet, this is what we are going to do. And basically what they did is they expanded access because people were stuck in Mexico, which meant that they couldn't get legal representation or legal hearings in the United States. And it's a United States process. So what they did is they expanded resources, trying to create like a 24-hour-a-day access to legal resources. And what that allows you to do is sort through people quicker, which means, and I think it's like 13% of people are granted asylum, or 3. It's 3 or 13. I can't remember. It's a very low number. But having this open 24 hours and adding resources would allow us to filter through the people who have legitimate asylum claims and people who don't. And the people who don't have a legitimate asylum claim need to go through the proper channels, and they need to apply for citizenship or a green card or a work visa or whatever, or a visitor's visa, whatever they're trying to come here for. But those who have legitimate asylum claims, they are allowed to stay here while it's adjudicated. That's all that this entire article is about. But again, like I don't think Bushmaster, that when you get in a conversation that you're looking for what the right answer is, or looking to get the right answer. What you're looking for is whatever we say, you try and find an article that debunks what we're saying. But this doesn't really talk about what either of us are saying. This is just procedural stuff.
No. So what's the backlog right now for court dates and shit?
I don't know what the current number is. Do you know?
Do you know, Felice?
Do you know it? That'll save us time.
I'll look it up, but I was looking up something else.
Okay. So what's your question?
Well, he's deported a lot.
Yeah, so let me talk to you about that. Let me talk to you about the 3 million. So no president has deported more people. But the backlog, that's another thing that Mayorkas was trying to address. And I think we talked about this, or it might have been Big Block. I was talking to this about this, is that what they want to do, because judges are few and far between. We need more immigration judges, but in the meantime, of that 3 million, the backlog of asylum cases, there are many thousands of cases that the United States knows, these people aren't going to cut it. We're going to deport them. Their case is not going to go through. It's not going to be granted, but they have to sit there until there's an immigration judge. And Mayorkas wanted to just have officials who aren't technically judges, but for these cases, we know there's no way. These asylum cases aren't closed. They're not going to be approved. We wanted to just have immigration officials who could rubber stamp, say, deport, this case is denied, and get them out of here. But Mayorkas and the Department of Homeland Security were sued to stop that. So they can't. That's what, so yes, we should be doing something about listen, watch the congressional immigration hearing. This is what came out during that hearing.
I understand that, but who sued?
I don't know exactly who the defendants are. I can look it up, but next time we talk, I'm not going to look up court documents.
No, I just want to know who sued.
But the point is, let me finish, is that the Democrats presented a solution. Mayorkas presented a solution because we all know that the backlog to see an immigration judge is huge. It's like what are they saying? 2-year wait. Like 1 to 2 year wait just to get in front of that judge. And there was a solution of let's just have immigration officials for these cases. We know there's no way, they're not even on the cusp. They're going to be denied by an immigration judge. Let's process them and get them out of here. And the Department of Homeland Security was sued to stop that. And that's also what Mayorkas testified to.
All right, my question would be who sued? And then
that's not a question. Do you understand? You're asking about the backlog. So I'm telling you, you're talking about two.
No, I understand that about
nobody has deported. Nobody's got more people out. But if you're saying now, what I'm hearing is that's not enough people because we have a 3 million person backlog waiting. No, listen to me.
You can't deport those people.
Nobody has deported more people than Donald Trump, but then you're bringing up the backlog waiting to see an immigration judge. And I'm saying, yes, we, number one, need more immigration judges to move these cases forward. But number two, Mayorkas and the Department of Homeland Security also recognized we don't need a judge for all these cases. We know these people won't be approved. There are cases that aren't even close, that don't have the grounds to be claiming an asylum. And we should be able to not wait the 2 years to get in front of an immigration judge. We should be able to move these people out of here. And they were sued to stop that. And that's what Mayorkas was testifying to. So I'm telling you that they are trying to get even more people through this system faster so they can be returned from whence they came. I don't even like that. Right? That brings up questions for me about due process. Like, are we giving these people an opportunity? But Mayorkas is trying to get them out of here. I'm trying to tell you, you guys want all these people gone. You have an administration who's working on that.
Yeah, I would disagree. I would agree that we don't owe them due process because they're not actual citizens, but that's just my personal belief. But
your personal belief doesn't line up with international law, and it doesn't line up with how we've handled this forever.
Yeah, the United States is not international law.
And it would be, yeah, but what do you want to do? You think that the United States should just suspend decades of international law and decades of us helping other nations, demanding that other nations comply with asylum laws? Like, we have agreements, dude. Like, this is a weird thing about Republicans, or MAGA, I guess, is that you think that we should just suspend everything, like all norms that we've had, everything that we've done historically to make sure that people have a place to be safe, and that if they are being persecuted against, they can leave and they can be taken care of. We should just get rid of all those norms. For what reason? I would ask you, Bushmaster, what about these immigrants is hurting you?
I never said anything about them was harming me. I'm talking about them.
How's it harming
our system?
How?
Meaning how? Well, 3 million backlog. I mean, that's harming.
How is it? No, we already covered that. I already know that exists. We all agree that there's 3 million people backlog. How is it hurting us?
That's harming us.
How?
Altogether. Because of everything that happens through it. I mean, it's a wide spectrum. You've got some that commit crime. You've got some that do come in and take people's jobs for lesser pay.
Will that exist? Will that exist no matter how people immigrate? Will that exist in legal and illegal immigration?
It can, but not to the limit of 3 million in backlog.
Well, roughly 3% of those people. By the way, roughly 3% of those people will be let through. Roughly 3% of them are going to get their asylum claimed. 97% of them will be sent back where they came from.
But wide open borders, it doesn't make sense. And also in the same breath, do you hear how you're saying you guys want to claim reverse racism and that's why you guys had to get rid of affirmative action was because it should be a meritocracy. Whoever's best for the job should get it. But now in the next breath, we have to hear Bushmaster crying and terrified that brown people are going to take his job. Do you hear that? Is this a meritocracy or not, Bushmaster? Do you want the best person to get the job or are you scared brown people are better than you and going to take your job?
Oh,
which one is it? You can't have it both ways.
So you want to go that route?
You can't have it both ways. No, which one? I'm asking you to take a stand. Which one is it? You guys had to get rid of affirmative action because it's a meritocracy. But now in the next breath, replacement theory.
I agree with the best person.
You're just a walking hypocrite.
Hold up. So I agree with you. The best person should get the job. But if they really are the best person, then why are they not over there in their country creating the job?
Because they've been run out of their country.
No, because they're not the best person.
Whoa.
Because we fought for our freedom. We fought for our rights, bro.
They're terrified.
No.
I'm gonna finish now. I checked the numbers. It's almost 13 million now jobs in this country that are currently unfilled. 13 million. In Venezuela, particularly, a lot of the reason people have been run out is because their political ideologies, because they oppose a political leader who is making their life hell. And by the way, the United States was more than helpful in decimating their economy. More than helpful. We went ahead and we just tore their economy apart. And then the political rivals of the people that we didn't like, they had nowhere to go because now they're persecuted. So they didn't have an option for jobs. It's not like there was 50% of the people could get jobs in Venezuela, and it was a meritocracy in Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And so the only people that are coming here are the bottom 50%. That's a remarkably stupid and uninformed take. You don't know anything about Venezuela, but what you do, and this is how you're trained. This is how your brain is supposed to work when you're MAGA. You're trained to believe that the only people that would possibly come to our border are the worst of the worst. That's why Donald Trump said they're sending their worst, and he listed off a bunch of ways that they were worse. And then at the end he said, and I assume some are good people. He didn't say some are qualified people, some are smart people, some are people that would really benefit our country. He said some are good people. You have been brainwashed. You have been indoctrinated to believe that brown people are less than, and that's why you say these things.
What?
These are. Listen, dude, I was you.
That's just asinine, bro.
Listen, dude, I was you not that long ago. Okay, I had the same dumb takes.
You was not me, bro.
Not that long ago. But the difference between me and you is that I kept getting dunked on, and I kept losing debates, and I was smart enough to realize I was losing debates, and I was losing debates because I didn't have any facts to back me up. And instead of doubling down, I just started listening a little bit more. And I started
No, I
reading
listen.
a little bit more.
I just don't.
And I
fall
started
into the
understanding
category that
messaging
you're
a little
trying
bit
to
more.
put me in.
Tell
And
your
it's funny.
messaging. Your messaging is the same messaging that Republicans have been throwing out for 30 years now, even when there wasn't a border crisis.
That's why you continuously talk over me, because I've actually
those are the middle of my
experienced-
sentences.
See, because I've actually experienced it in real life and seen it for myself. Like,
you're an immigrant?
for example, when I worked with Great Lakes Dredge and Docks, when
Are
I
you
worked
an
with them,
immigrant?
it's the
Are you an
largest. It's the
immigrant?
third
Wait, hold
largest
on.
dredging company in the world.
I don't
It is
care.
the
Are you an
first
immigrant?
largest in the United States. Did you know that?
And are you an immigrant?
Yeah. Did you know that?
Are you an immigrant?
Apparently so. Did you not?
And
know that?
did you come here and seek? Did you come here and seek amnesty? Is that what
Say what?
happened?
Say
Did you
what?
come here from another country looking for amnesty?
No.
No. Okay. So then, when you say you have experience, what you mean is you have no experience. Is that what you
I
meant?
actually do.
Okay. You have experience as an immigrant.
No, I've worked with them.
Okay. What's your experience about then?
I just told you I've worked with them.
He worked with them. That's his.
Oh yeah, we've heard this before, and you think some of them suck. That's
No,
not,
actually,
it
you
doesn't matter.
haven't. You haven't
told us
heard
this
that
the other day. But go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
you haven't heard that.
Go ahead. Go ahead and tell your story.
So I was working. No, was it Great Lakes? That may have been another company. It may have been Crosby, but I was working with this company, and they had hired a few immigrants. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't know if they had documents. I don't think they did, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. And then,
just to be clear, none of these were people who were awaiting decisions on their amnesty claim, right?
Like I said, I didn't get in their legal business.
Answer to that is no, because they wouldn't have been allowed to work.
I don't know their legal business. I don't know. But anyway, one of them made the comment, if this was being run by Mexicans, it would be done better, because they didn't like the boss man. I guess he was a white dude from Louisiana.
Why are you talking about Mexicans right now?
Because they were Mexican.
The overwhelming majority of people coming across the border right now are not Mexicans.
No, I know that.
Now I'm a little concerned that you just think all brown people are Mexican.
Oh my God, no. Dude, I've worked with Puerto Ricans. I've worked with all kinds of people.
They're not coming from Puerto Rico either.
Yeah, I know.
So what the fuck are you talking about?
Puerto Rico is a territory of the United States. Somebody tell him that Puerto Rico is part of this country.
They're allowed to work here. They don't come seeking amnesty. So you're saying
he said
because you worked with Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, you understand Venezuelans.
I asked the guy the question: if it would be run better by Mexicans, why are you here? Why aren't you in Mexico running a dredge company that's better than here? I mean, it don't make sense.
Okay, but now what does this have to do with Venezuela?
I didn't say Venezuela.
And people seek and amnesty.
Sounds like a very uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah. What does this have to do with amnesty or?
We should have uncomfortable conversations, Felice.
But what does this have to do with people from Venezuela or amnesty? Because it seems like this has nothing to do with either of those two things.
Well,
what it seems like, Bushmaster, is that you think everybody who's brown is a Mexican, and you think that their countries suck and our country is great, and so they should all just go back to their country. That's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like to you? No.
Yeah, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. Okay,
it
so what are you
sounds
trying
like
to say,
me that they have this perception that they can do it better than us, but they can't do it themselves. And
well, again, you're talking about Mexicans. We're talking about people from Venezuela. We're talking about Venezuelans.
Okay, it's an immigrant, is it not?
Bushmaster, that's like you and I talking about what southern state is the best state, and like, well, the person from Idaho, like that's they're not part of this. Wait, do you understand that you're talking? No, you said that I have experience. You said I have experience with this, and then you started talking about Mexicans,
bro.
What?
No, I don't care. We're talking about immigration. I ain't talking about Venezuela.
No, we're not. We're talking about amnesty.
Yes,
we're talking about people looking for amnesty.
Guys, tap the screen.
Venezuela specifically.
Tap the screen.
Thank you, Bushmaster, for finally making yourself useful. I appreciate it.
I'm always useful, Felice. I'm out here cleaning the country, and you don't even know it.
Do you see what I mean, though? Like your story was about people from Mexico. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It's immigrants, bro.
You think? Do you think all immigrants are the same? Is that the idea? That if you've met one immigrant, you've met all the immigrants?
That is not what I'm saying.
Then what the fuck are you saying?
I'm explaining that to you because I understand that there's 198 fucking countries in the world, and a lot of them come from all of those countries, and they're all different sorts and types of people. Yes, I get all that. I was just talking about immigration in general.
Okay, but then you said Mexico. Right, you understand what your experience? Just so you know, the experience.
That's where the immigrant was from.
Hold on, I know, but what you're saying is you claimed, like, we gave you numbers, we gave you statistics, and you said, well, I have personal experience with this, and then you brought up that you worked with somebody from Mexico, and you're not sure if that person is documented or undocumented, so you don't know if that even applies to what we're talking about or not. But again, it's the wrong country. I'm just saying that your story is useless to this conversation. It meant absolutely nothing. It was anecdotal evidence of nothing and it wasn't relevant to what we're talking about. And that's my concern with MAGA, is that you are not looking to get the right answer. You are looking to justify your bigotry. And you may not know it's bigotry, but you're just looking for reasons to justify the cruelty that Texas and MAGA Republicans are advocating for at the border. And you did so by talking about somebody from Mexico that may or may not be here illegally. Do you understand how that's a pretty shitty piece of evidence, and that's a pretty shitty thing for you to base your entire opinion on?
No, that's not, because people from Mexico are not a specific race. You understand that, right? So being Mexican is not a specific race.
No, but if they immigrate from
bigotry,
Mexico,
bro.
They are Mexicans. They
Oh
are
my fucking
Mexican.
God, bro.
Mexicans come from Mexico.
Yeah, but it's not
Venezuelans
a
come
race.
from
That's
Venezuela.
not bigotry. What are you talking about? Like, what
No,
the fuck?
That's
the bigotry.
true. I mean, you're saying something, you're talking about colonization, right? Like the Spanish colonized Mexico and there were indigenous populations there, right? I'm Mexican indigenous from the Yaqui tribe. So yes, there is Mexico. You're correct in saying that, but that's not what we're discussing.
Let me just ask you this question. Wouldn't it be cool if you didn't have to be accused of being like bigoted or racist or homophobic or misogynistic? Don't you think that would be nice to not have to be accused of that anymore?
You can accuse me of shit all the time.
No, I'm just asking. This is a person. I wouldn't want to be accused of those things.
I've been accused of a lot of shit, bro.
I don't doubt that. I'm just asking. Wouldn't it be nice to not be accused of that?
What's even more great is when
I don't know why you're not answering my question. Could you just answer my question, please? Would it be nice to not be accused of that?
I cannot control what other people think.
That's, again, not an
I'm
answer to my question. I'm not asking if you can control it. I'm saying, would it be nice?
I would still be accused of it, regardless.
Okay. What if...
From either side.
What if, when you had conversations about things regarding immigration, that you had actual statistics and knew what was actually happening? Don't you think you could make better arguments if you were educated on what was happening at the border? Because so far you've brought no evidence, but you've brought a lot of feelings. And one anecdotal story about somebody who may or may not have been here illegally. Do you understand that, like, that this is the reason that those aspersions are cast, is because it seems like you don't really care about the numbers. You don't really care about the data. You have an opinion, and your opinion will not be changed by any amount of evidence because it's based solely on your opinion. And it feels like it's based solely on the fact that whatever Republicans say, you will just agree with. And you don't seem to fact check anything that they say, which is why you didn't understand that Texas doesn't own the border. That's you came on arguing that Texas owns the border. Everything you've brought up so far, you've been wrong about. Like, if you want to have an opposing view to us, that's great. You do that. We welcome that. But don't you think you should, like, look at the numbers and instead of starting with the conclusion of my opinion is right, just look at the numbers, look at the data, and then form your opinion? Because you have a strong opinion without any data.
Well, I mean, to each his own. I think
it would be great if you just, like, I don't know why you won't directly answer questions.
I don't see why there wouldn't be.
Well, why do you have an opinion on this when you don't know the data? I'll ask it more simply. You don't know any data on this. Why do you have an opinion on it? Wait, but okay. So what did you say?
I said I don't care about the data. I care about the border. Okay,
but don't you need the data to know what's going on at the border, to know what the problem is?
No.
You don't?
No.
How are you going to figure out what the problem is then?
Because I have a lock on my house to keep people out.
That's nonsense. That doesn't answer my question at all. How do you know what the problem is?
Do you have a lock on your house?
Yeah, and somebody broke into my house.
How so that didn't fucking fix your house.
And you know what I did? I tried to figure out. I went as far as to figuring out the mother of the person who broke into my house and got in touch with them and just asked, like, what made my house a target? Because my house has been targeted twice. So I reached out and I said, why am I a target? Is there something that makes my house, like, appealing to people? Why are people choosing my house? My house is in a weird spot. It's like in the middle of the street. Like, it's not on a corner. There's no easy access to a road. Like, I didn't understand why. So instead of just being like, oh, I better get I have a lock and that's it. No, like, I investigated. Why did somebody try and break in my house? We have a lock at the border, but like all locks, people can get through. And more importantly, even though we have locks at the border and they seem to be working because all of these people have been apprehended, historic numbers of people have been apprehended, we've got to figure out if people were showing up at your door 50 at a time trying to break into your house, wouldn't you be a little concerned? Or would you just sit there and be like, oh, I need bigger locks? No, you would be like, why are there 50 people outside of my house trying to break in? Like, and why are they choosing my house? What should I do differently here? But you're not. You stop it. There's a lock, and I think the border's open, which it's not. Like, your entire theory is based on things that aren't true, and the fact that you have a lock on your door.
Things that aren't true, but they're still.
Yeah, the border is not.
Get them out of here.
The border is not
that's just
open.
asinine to me.
But even your argument on get him out of here, nobody's gotten more out of here than Joe Biden. Do you not get
That's
that?
exactly my point.
Every statistic that you like, right, about Trump, Joe Biden has eclipsed that. No one's drilling more, no one's deported more people, but you still love Orange Jesus. So explain the logic. That's what he's saying. Doesn't make sense.
So you're saying when Title 42 wasn't dropped, catch and release wasn't reenacted?
No, since May 2023, when it was dropped, they've deported 375,000 people. Since May 2023, when it was dropped. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That if anything, they've deported at a faster clip. Like, you're not understanding what's going on. You're just hearing things from Fox News or whatever, or True Social, and you're like, oh, this is going on. But what I'm telling you is he has eclipsed wherever you're hanging out. I don't know where you...
I go all over.
Okay.
I've got like
Renaissance
30
man.
different apps.
So many apps.
Renaissance man. But dude, like, just honestly, I don't, man to man, I don't get why you leave conversations where you have had you've offered no counter defense, no evidence, and you leave. Like, what kind of man leaves without just getting obliterated on evidence and decides that they're just still right? Like, you've decided that you're right. Like, where
you can't cover all the evidence in a day, bro.
Well, you've covered zero evidence. I would like some evidence would be dope, but you have zero. You have an anecdotal story about a Mexican that you worked with,
and two pictures of barbed wire,
and a lock on your door. That's been your entire argument, dude. Man to man, you have to understand that if this was anything, like, if there were people watching this that were not on either side, every single person watching would be like, "What is this guy doing? Like, what is he doing? He's not saying anything."
You know what I got out of this? You know what I got out of this? It's okay.
You came to see me. Just admit it.
Well, yeah. It's concertina wire is okay to use against Americans, but it's not
That's
okay
what
to
you
use
got out
against
of this.
other ones.
That's what you got out of this. That's crazy.
That's exactly
See, that's the
what
thing,
I've got,
dude.
bro.
This is why I say there is nothing weaker than a MAGA man, because the one thing that none of you can seem to do is admit that you don't know something.
So
and
let me ask you
you don't
question,
know a
Monty.
goddamn thing.
Let me ask you.
I'm not done. You don't know a goddamn thing about what's happening at the border, but you're absolutely sure that this dumb fucking meme is smart. It's remarkably stupid.
Sure.
Before you showed it, I was making fun of it. Before you got here, I was making fun of everybody on Twitter that was sharing this meme. I was looking at it when you came up. It's on my computer screen right now on Twitter, because all of you morons are just like, oh, look, there's some bench. Let's all retweet it. That's a good point. And then you think it's a good point.
Good for you. So let me ask you a question.
Please.
On one hand, you got one American. On the other hand, you got 20 immigrants. Which is more important?
20 immigrants.
The 20 immigrants or the one American?
The 20 immigrants.
You fucking hate America and you're elected to represent America.
I care about humanity.
No.
You don't.
No, motherfucker.
You care only,
it's
only
America
about
first,
white America. What a dumb fuck. What an unbelievably dumb fucking thing to say.
By the American people
should 20 people die or should one person?
The 20 immigrants, dude.
Yeah.
Your dire election of duty is showing.
Dire election?
Yes.
Well, what's my duty?
To represent the
what's
American
my duty?
People, not
Wait, what is my duty?
Immigrants, bro.
What is my duty?
That's your duty. The American
What's my
people.
duty? Did I take an oath?
As a citizen of the United States of America,
what oath
that
did I
is
take?
your job.
Wait, what oath did I take? What oath did I take?
America.
You
hate America, bro.
America. Tell me what oath I took.
Right.
What oath did I take? You think that it's a smart thing to say, I care about one American over 20 immigrants. I care about human beings, dude. These are human beings.
So RTP, do we not have a duty as an American citizen?
To what?
Do you believe in voting?
Yeah, you can vote if you want to vote.
Okay, so you're voting. What are you voting for these representatives to do?
To represent me.
We're voting for the president that's removed the most people. You're voting. You're going to vote for a man who did not remove the most people from this country. So you must not be an American. By your logic, you're not an American. We're the Americans. We are voting for the man who's removed the most people from this country. So by your defaulty or defective logic, then we are actually the Americans, not you.
So I don't know your answer, Felice. That's why I'm asking RTP. RTP, you said the 20 immigrants. So you don't think we have a duty as an American citizen, but
a duty to do what? I keep asking you this question. You keep saying
when we are voting. Hold on. When we are voting, what are we voting for?
You're voting for the people that you want to represent you.
To represent who?
You. It's your vote.
Who is you? Who is you?
Me.
Who is you? Who is me?
My name is Jay.
Why are you
nice to fucking meet you. I have one vote. I get to vote however the fuck I want. And I'm voting, and what I'm doing is I'm voting for a person to represent me.
The American people, correct?
No, most people that you vote for don't represent the American people.
What fucking country do you live in, bro?
Most people, hey, calm down, you goddamn lunatic.
God.
Listen for a second before you get your panties in a twist. Most people that you vote for don't represent the American people. In fact, virtually only one person that you vote for. Shut the fuck up for a second. Oh, shut up! You're gonna learn something because you are so god. No, shut up. Hold on.
Say you hate.
One
say
person.
You hate
shut
America
up.
because you
shut
hate America.
Up. God damn it, dude. One person that you vote for. One. The president represents the American people.
Just say you hate America. It's okay.
Every other person that you vote for represents a district or a state. They don't represent the American people. They represent the people that vote for them. That's why you can't vote for everybody. You can only vote for the people that represent you. You don't understand the Constitution. You don't understand politics. You don't understand anything that's happening on the border. You just say dumb shit, and they get really emotional when people don't give you the dumbass answer that you thought, because your answer is dumb and wrong.
Your answer is wrong. It's one American over the 20.
Let me ask you a question. Who's your congressman? Let me ask you a question. Who represents you in Congress?
Who represents me in Congress?
Yes. Who represents
my state senator? Her name is, hold on, I can't remember.
A state senator represents you at the state level.
Oh, you talking about the House? Or are you talking about, what are you talking about?
Congress,
CD?
my friend.
About
yes.
County?
Who's the representative of your district?
In the House?
Sure. Yeah, House. Yes.
I'm going to have to look his name up. Hold on.
So, let me just you don't even have to look their name up. Can I vote for that person?
No.
So does that person represent me?
Yeah.
You're an idiot. Yes. Yes. But he messaged you.
Oh, they don't?
Dude, you are like, I don't know if you're being purposely dumb, but that's so stupid. Of course he doesn't represent me. Of course not.
Of course they do.
I live here. You live there.
Like,
we have different representation.
Let me try. Listen, Bushmaster. A constitutional republic is a type of representative democracy.
Understand that, Felice,
no, but let me just finish. Listen.
Hold on. Do they vote on bills that you care about? Yes or no?
Yes, but you're
okay. So in a sense, yes, they do.
Let me finish.
You.
No, you're not getting it. Let me finish.
Absolutely, they do.
Let me finish. We each live in a district. We can only vote on a representative in the House from our district. Mine is David Schweikart. His is Andy Biggs. You don't even know who yours is.
Yeah, Mr. America, Mr. I love America, I love freedom. I don't know who represents me, but they represent America. Brother, you're not equipped for this. Listen more, talk
We
less.
can only vote for House representatives that are in our district. Like, I would love to, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
There's
I've
many
been to
people
his
I'd love to
office,
cast
but I
votes
think it
for.
just
I
changed.
love Eric Swalwell. Can't
what his
elect
name
him to
is,
the
but
House.
I'm bad with names. Sue me. Robert Aderholt. That's his name. That's in the House.
Okay,
And then what's her name just got elected.
okay,
she's
and can
actually,
I vote for him?
No.
Okay, so does he represent me?
Unless you move to Alabama, can you move to Alabama?
Can I vote for him? I live in Arizona. Can I vote for him?
Yeah, sure. Can you move to Alabama?
I just asked while I live in Arizona. God
Can
damn,
you move to Alabama? Yes or no?
Oh my God, this is so stupid.
This really is
more
because
wrong.
he loves you, Jay.
This
I
is
think he
sad.
actually loves you.
No,
I think this is all an effort to get you to
this
move
is MAGA.
to Alabama.
Instead of just admitting that he got something wrong, he's gonna be like, oh, well, you can move. Well, of course I can move. But then you know who I can't vote for? Andy Biggs, because I live in Alabama now. Like, dude, you have you have no idea how our country operates, and yet you wake up pissed off at liberals every day.
Do you not think
you are the very
because of economic
definition.
reasons or any
You are
other
the
reason
definition
whatsoever?
of sheep. You just do what you're told. You show up and you put up a background that you didn't even make. You found it on Twitter today, and every other Republican told you to post it, and you thought this will get a win.
It's
I'll
not
walk
Twitter
in with
anymore.
this.
It's X. Get with the times, bro. And no, I didn't find it on X.
No, I'm looking at okay. Well, wherever you found it, I'm looking. Did you
Doesn't
make it?
know he's representative, but
Did you make
supports
it?
the Twitter rebrand.
Brother, I don't get it. I honestly don't.
I pulled that one up just to ask
dude,
your
stop
opinion on
talking
it.
when I'm talking. Don't go silent and then wait until I start a
Bro,
sentence
why are
to
you
talk.
so mad?
Because you're fucking annoying. I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but the only time you talk is when I talk. So I'm just gonna ask you: do you have sons?
No, I don't have a son.
Okay. Do you have daughters? All right. Boss at work. Do you have a boss at work?
All right. So who keeps
Do you have a
muting
boss
me?
at work? Do you have a boss at work?
Whoever's muting me, have
It's
them
not
stop.
us muting. It wasn't us.
Do you have a boss at work?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Now, if your boss at work came in and told you how to do your job, but clearly had no idea how to do your job, and then told you a story about somebody they worked with once that did a job that was kind of similar to yours, and used that as the reason for why you should do the job their way, would you respect them? Would you respect their opinion on that?
Sure.
You would. So what do you do for work? You drive a truck or something, right? Or am I thinking of something else? You dredge. Okay. So the person comes in, they're going to tell you how to dredge, and they're like, look, I had this friend, and my friend was from Mexico, and my friend used to dredge the bottom of the coffee cups at the end of the day to make sure that they were clean. So what you want to do is you're going to want to get a sponge and some hot water and some dish soap, and then pour that into whatever you're dredging, and then bring that up. Would that be good advice? Would that make your job easier? Would
I'd
that make
say
it so you
that
could do your
cleaning
job?
coffee cups
Would
doesn't
that
have
make it
shit
so
to
you could
do
do
with my job.
You would say
guy.
what? You would say what?
Cleaning coffee cups doesn't have shit to do with my job.
Exactly. And everything that you've said today, including your story about the Mexican that you worked with when we were talking
No,
about
I mean,
Venezuela.
that's cute and all, but
Shut up, dude. Not in the middle of my sentences.
Dude, why are you
Everything you've
so,
said,
like,
because you will only,
you don't
I've
like-
explained
you
this,
don't like
I'll
to hear
explain it
anybody
again.
else talk, you don't like other opinions.
I will explain it again. It's because you only talk when I'm talking. I'm going to give you a chance to answer. Just shut up while I talk, and then you can go, okay? Every single thing you've brought up today, you've had no evidence of. And the things that you thought you had evidence of, you've been wrong about. And you're still, man to man, you're still going to walk away from this, not changing your mind. And that's why I think you are a coward and a weak man, because real men can admit when they're wrong. Real men can admit when they don't know something. You can't. You have no ability to do that. All right, don't mute him anymore. Go ahead, Bushmaster.
No, I've sat here and I listened to you, and then when I asked that question, the reason I asked that question is because...
Can you respond to what I said before you change subjects, please?
I'm not changing the subject. I'm talking about what happened here today, which is that was your perception of what happened. My perception of what happened is I showed you that. Ask your opinion on it. You started out defending the Capitol, which that's fine if you want to defend the Capitol, cool. But you
don't?
it's not okay to defend the border, okay?
Correct.
What the fuck? So it's okay to defend.
Let me explain it again. Okay. Well, you seem to have missed that, so I'll explain it again.
All right, this is my perception, not yours.
Bushmaster, can Texas go to Washington? Bushmaster,
so like
can
you're
Texas,
talking when I'm talking.
Shush.
You got mad at
shush,
me for that.
Shush. I know, because now
the irony. See the irony?
Be quiet. We're going one by one. We're going to go point by point, Bushmaster, and you can be in your feelings or not. You can either listen or you'll get muted, one or the other.
You
can't go. You can't. Can the people of Virginia go into Washington, D.C. and put up a fence with wire on it? Are they allowed to do that?
I'm sure they can.
Are they allowed legally to do that?
I don't know. I'm sure they can.
You know the answer. You're a coward. Answer the question, you coward.
No, I don't know.
You don't know that you can't go into D.C. and put up a fence with barbed wire? You think that's a gray area?
You probably have to have a permit for it. So
no. You from who?
I don't know.
Who did you get the permit from?
Probably the governor or the mayor or whatever.
There's no governor of D.C. because it's not a state.
Yeah, mayor.
The mayor. Okay. So if you got that permit, you could do it. Now, Texas is putting up wire on land that is just like D.C. It's federal land. So what does Texas need in order to build something on federal land?
So
what does Texas need to build something on federal land?
Who put
permission? Permission. Did they have permission, Bushmaster?
The National Guard.
Did they have permission, Bushmaster?
Did the National Guard put it up, yes or no?
They have permission? And then you can ask your question. Answer my question, then you can ask.
You're avoiding the answer.
Did they have permission?
Yes, through the National Guard.
No, they didn't. You're wrong. They didn't. No, you're wrong. They didn't.
Is the National Guard federal? Yes or no?
The National Guard did not give them permission.
Is the National Guard federal? Yes or no?
Depends on which National Guard you're talking about.
Is the National Guard federal? Yes or no?
No, not always.
Yes, they are.
No, the governor controls the National Guard of each state.
Wait,
God damn, dude, how dumb are you? You don't know anything. You literally don't know anything.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. They report to the governor.
They're not?
They report to the governor, dude. That's why every state has the Texas National Guard, the Arizona National Guard, the California National Guard. What do you think? They're just naming them like their teams? No, they report to the governor.
Okay, so all right.
Oh my God, dude, you don't know anything. You literally don't know anything. It's wild.
Okay, so we're gonna go with that. We're gonna go with that. So January 6th, Donald Trump had no right or say to call the National Guard, right?
Again, no, we're not switching it yet. We're not switching the subject yet. I know you want to run from this.
No, I mean, because he's federal and you say they're not federal.
Shut up.
So it's one or the other, bro. You got to choose.
Shut up. You
got to choose.
No, you're running away from the question because you're a coward. Did Texas have authorization to put up fencing?
No, and that's why
land?
Donald Trump could not call them on January the 6th.
Wait, no, this has nothing to do with... No.
Thanks
Did they?
Wait, no.
I will let you get to your
They're
dumbass...
not federal, and Donald Trump couldn't call them.
Bushmaster, you fucking
Donald
coward.
Trump couldn't call them, bro. Good education.
Bushmaster.
Hey, there you go, bro. There you go. You helped me out today.
Bushmaster, did Texas have authority to build
I already answered
fencing?
that. I said
no. And then you ran to the next thing. I need to get a clear answer. Yes or no?
No. According to you, no.
Wait. So is the Supreme Court's decision correct that they didn't have permission?
Is the Supreme Court's decision according to the Constitution? I guess so, because that's what they do.
Okay, thank you. Now you can go on and complain about Donald Trump. What did you want to say about Trump?
So you're saying that the National Guard is not federal, that it's the governor and or mayor.
Unless, except for in one instance. Do you know what instance they are? They do report to the federal government?
No. You can't backstep now, buddy. You done stepped all over it.
Actually, I've already covered this on this call. I've already told you this twice today, and I told it to you yesterday too. But there is one instance where the National Guard. There is one instance, sweetheart. There's one instance where the National Guard doesn't report to a governor, and it's the one place in this country that doesn't have a governor. What place would that be?
They report to the mayor because it's not a state.
They don't report to the mayor. That's the crazy thing. See, again, you don't read the Constitution.
Okay, so the mayor has no say over the National Guard of Washington, D.C.?
None.
Really?
They report to the Secretary of the Army, who reports to the Secretary of Defense, who reports to the President of the United States. Would you like me to show you a letter?
We taught him this yesterday. Remember?
Yeah, we told you this yesterday.
We taught him this yesterday. We pulled up the letter. Forgot. You Googled the Christopher Miller letter. We did this yesterday.
See, this is the thing, dude. You think you're convinced that like we're the ones that are lying to you, and that like your knee-jerk reaction is just to argue. No matter what we say, you just want to argue. Which is why you just try to backdoor out of this, and you try to figure out a way that Trump wasn't in charge on January 6th. But you just have never, you appear to have never read the Constitution. You know nothing about the law. You don't know anything about our democracy. You didn't know who your representative is, and yet you're up here every day. I knew who he was.
I just couldn't remember the dude's name.
You're up here every day advocating for Donald Trump. I don't get it, dude. Like, what is it? Like you have a crush on him because you don't know anything about how our government operates.
You're not really doing that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not doing what?
I'm trying to get you to convince me otherwise, but you're not really doing that.
Well, I don't think you can be convinced because you've been wrong about everything so far today, and you won't even admit that you're wrong. If you were honestly having like a good faith discussion, you would leave. You don't have to believe me, but you would at least have the balls to be like, you know what? I don't know any of this. And you don't have to take my word for it or Felice's word, but the least, like, a real man would be like, you know, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I better get educated so that I don't get my pants pulled down in front of people again. But that's not what you're doing. You've decided that you know the answers, and you have this incredibly impossible...
No, I'm listening to someone that says he knows everything, and then
I don't know everything. I know some things. This is one of the things I know. When I ask
you a question like I did earlier, the one American or the 20 immigrants, you chose the immigrants over the American, which means you hate America, which you make
no, it doesn't. Wait,
hold on.
No, you don't get to say what I think.
No.
I told you why I chose the 20. Why did I choose the 20? Why did I choose the 20? Why did I choose the 20?
Stand firm.
Why did I choose the 20? Why did I choose the 20?
You don't have a reason. That doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter.
Exactly, because
the one American matters more than the 20.
Bushmaster.
If I'm overseas, look. If I'm overseas and I'm fighting for the freedom or whatever, yada 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 yada. Whether you believe they are, whether you believe they're not, regardless, you're side by side with your American brothers and sisters.
I'm not.
You're gonna take the 20 motherfuckers we're fighting against over the one.
We're not fighting against Venezuelan immigrants.
Because
no, we're not fighting. Wait, hold on, Bushmaster. If you're going to use analogies, they need to be analogous. I am not fighting. I am not at war. I am not at war with the Venezuelan immigrants who are seeking protection. They are not my enemy. The problem again, your issue is that you seem to think everybody who's not American is your enemy. That is a flaw in your thinking. Look, if you're telling me, would I choose one American or 20 armed terrorists that are advancing towards me, I would say the one American. But if you're telling me, like, there's 21 people in this situation, should I save one or should I save 20? I'm going to save 20. Because I don't think that just because somebody comes from another country, that they don't deserve the same right as I do to live. And that's the flaw in your thinking. It's you think everybody's your enemy, and you think that because the politicians you like Donald moron Trump, keeps telling you that they're your enemy. And they're not. These people are not your enemy. You want to talk about fentanyl? We talk about fentanyl coming over the border. That's the one thing Republicans love to talk about. 90% of that shit comes over, brought to you by, drumroll, American citizens. 90% of it.
Where does it come from?
We are far more our enemies than the people at the border who are looking for protection.
Where does it come from?
Well, usually from China in through Mexico.
Yes.
And you know who's funding that?
What?
Wait, you know who's funding that?
You think I'm just talking about immigrants too, right?
Were you talking about? Well, you're talking about American citizens.
No, American citizens bring the fentanyl in from ports of
You
entry.
need to
Yes,
disrupt the
American
supply chain.
citizens. But hold on, not just
Absolutely.
American citizens, because you were right about Mexicans, right? Some Mexicans are indigenous to that land, and some are of European
Right.
descent because of colonization. It's specifically Americans that look what? White. Because those people, and we live in a border state, if you've crossed back and forth over an international border, you know you have a lower percentage chance of being what? Searched. So that's why when you say, like, you know, right, that you were smart enough to say not all Mexicans are, indigenous. They're not all brown, but those are the only ones you guys can identify, right? Because how else would you know? European Mexicans that are of European descent are the same as Americans of European descent. You all look the same. You are grouping people together by sight. That's why we're making the point that the most people at the southern border aren't Mexican. They're from Cuba. They're from Venezuela.
Oh yeah, I know that.
That's why we're making that point. And the people bringing in the fentanyl are not indigenous, brown looking or presenting people south of here, right? It's white presenting people because they have a higher percentage chance of not being searched at the international border. Just
saying. I like when I go into Canada, I get searched, so I don't know. But
And just so you know, if this really is important to you, if this border is really important to you, and you want to talk about like who's the most effective person to vote for, under Donald Trump, 47% of people who were arrested or detained were expelled or repatriated. Under Biden, that's 51%. So not only does Biden have bigger numbers in total amount of people that he expelled or repatriated, he also does it at a higher percentage. Trump released 52% of people who were detained. Biden is releasing 48%. By every measurable number, Joe Biden is better on the border than Donald Trump. Everything that we can control on our end, what we do with people when we catch them, how many of them we catch, how quickly we send them back, how many we send back, on every measurable number, dealing with much larger numbers, by the way, Biden is more effective with larger numbers than Trump was with smaller numbers. So explain to me how you think that the guy who's worse at this is the better option for a candidate. You're going to vote for Donald Trump because Donald Trump tells you that he's effective, and because Republicans are the loudest complaining about this. But the truth is, he had his shot. He did a much worse job than Joe Biden did. So if this is your number one issue, why aren't you voting for Joe Biden? Is it because he doesn't say racist things? He's not incendiary enough? He doesn't say that they're poisoning the blood? Is it because he treats them human, even though he's doing a better job, even though the outcome is better under him than under Trump? Are you upset that he treats them as humans? Is that what makes you mad?
What do you know, dude? That dude says
okay. So then,
why
wouldn't you vote for Joe Biden?
Because that dude is racist as fuck too. I wouldn't. If I was voting based on that, it would be Trump by far.
Wait, if you were voting,
this is a dude that was. Hold on, he was campaigning for president in the 70s, saying he started the civil rights movement.
Wait, I just gave you the numbers. Joe Biden is better on the border.
He called black kids roaches. He said,
"I just gave you the numbers.
Fucking black, you ain't black if you don't vote for me." I just gave you the numbers.
Like what? I just gave you the numbers. Joe Biden is more effective on the border. So I'm asking what it is that makes you believe that Trump is the better option for the border. And I asked, is it because of his rhetoric? And you immediately jumped to Joe Biden. I'm asking you a question on your opinion, and you're deflecting to Joe Biden. Like you're so emotional that you can't even answer a question.
No.
Tap the screen.
No, what is it? If it's about the border, then why are you not voting for the person who does a better job on the border?
It's not simply the border, no.
Okay, then what else is it? So let's agree. So we agree Joe Biden's better on the border. There we go. So there's one for Joe Biden. What's the next thing you care about?
Economic.
Okay, economics. Now, did you know the stock market has hit an all-time high yesterday?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
did you know unemployment now is lower than it ever was during the Trump administration? Did you know that we have lower unemployment now than during any time? Did you know that?
So how do they get unemployment? How do they get the numbers?
Same way you got them under Trump. We don't need to go through the methodology, but if you're going to take Trump, we're comparing the numbers that are, and they're obtained the exact same way.
What that means is just people are being denied unemployment.
It's through census data. It's through government reporting. It's because
more people are being denied money because we don't have how many.
No, hey dummy,
that's not what the unemployment rate is.
Are in this country, and we tax them, and we have a record of every person working, so we know who's working. That's how.
No, that's not
how.
The
that's how we know.
Rate has to be who is employed.
Wait, are you going to have more employed or unemployed? So what's going to be easier to count, the unemployed?
Oh my God.
No, it's a percentage, dude. This isn't the total number. This is the amount of people unemployed by percentage. And Joe Biden's better.
No.
Yes, he is. His numbers are better. See, this is the thing, dude. This is what I'm saying. You don't care about the truth. You are in a cult, and you just want Donald Trump to be right. So when you're when you're confronted with data that conflicts with your worldview,
a cult would have took the GB jab, bro.
No. That's your response. Your argument is no.
Yeah,
grown man.
No.
Grown man.
I can't get anything else out.
No.
Because I can't get anything else out. I get muted, I get talked over, or whatever.
Show me that Trump's numbers were better. Give me some counter data.
What's the point?
What's the point? You might accidentally realize that Donald Trump fucking sucks at this.
To defend your Lord and Savior, Orange Jesus, don't you?
I'm not defending anybody.
So Trump's better, or Biden's better on the border. He's better economically. What's the next thing that's important to you? That's 2 for Biden, 0 for Trump.
If he was better on the border, then people in Chicago and New York wouldn't be complaining. People in Texas would not be complaining. You ain't telling me these people ain't complaining for just to complain, bro.
Yes, I can. Because
it ain't me.
Because
I'm going based off what I'm seeing.
Bushmaster, they're just as Bushmaster. I got news for you. They're complaining because they're just as
Did you know I've been
and
to Chicago?
misinformed. No, be quiet. Be quiet. I need you to hear this.
Oh, you didn't know I went to Chicago?
Be quiet. Be quiet.
You didn't know that?
Be quiet.
You thought I just live and stay in Alabama, right? You thought I stay in a little corner in a little safe space? Is that what you think?
Let me know when you're done.
Is that what you think? I'm in South Carolina right now, actually.
Okay, sweetheart. Are you done? I don't care.
All right, sweetheart. So, yeah,
thank you.
I can get out on the ground and see for real.
All right. Bushmaster, no, be quiet. Listen, the reason people are complaining, and wait till I'm done speaking, please. The reason people are complaining is because they are just as stupid and misinformed as you are.
Oh, really? Is that why they're complaining about their schools being taken over by
your evidence? And your evidence is they're complaining. Now your evidence is I talked to somebody from Mexico and other people are complaining. That's your defense. Grown man.
How many states do you go through every year?
What?
You stay in Arizona and you just live there all the time? That's all you do? You never leave the state?
I've lived in 23 states. How many of you lived in?
23? All 50. Yeah.
You've lived in all 50?
Correction.
Through all 50? You've lived in all 50 states.
Bro, I go all over the fucking place.
I didn't ask where you go. I asked where you've lived.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
He's a dredger. He goes where the work is. Yeah. I understand that based on what you've told me, I can guess you've lived
not all places. 50, but about 48. There you go.
Okay, sure you have. And during your travels, you appear to have learned nothing.
I've lived in Washington. I've lived in Texas.
Hold on. That was the middle of my sentence. That was the middle of my sentence. I'm not asking for a history of your life.
I've been all over the fucking place, bro.
And it's crazy that you're that well traveled and you're still this remarkably uninformed. All that travel and you didn't learn a goddamn thing.
Oh, I didn't?
What'd you learn? You don't know how our country operates? Yeah, what'd you learn?
Seeing is believing, brother. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, that's just a catchphrase. That doesn't mean anything. That's
seeing is believing.
What did you learn? I learned a new catchphrase. Where'd you learn that catchphrase?
Tap the screen, guys. Let's get to 250K. Let's see if we can get to 300 before 1 p.m. Time flies.
I'd like to ask you about that. Seeing is believing. Now, seeing is believing. That would that
Vermont would
include
never
data,
take
or do you not include that in things that you see? I mean, I know you don't see data because you don't look at it, but is that why you're afraid to look at data? Because if you see the data, you're going to be forced to believe it?
If I look at data?
Yeah.
I'm looking at data right now.
Joe Biden is much better. No, you're not. Okay, what data are you looking at?
Let's see, it's unemployment rates for states.
Why are you looking at that?
Oh,
Why?
we was just talking about unemployment, wasn't we?
We were talking about the national unemployment rate. Yeah, I was just wondering why you were looking at it by state.
Why not?
Well, what we were
I'm asking
talking about,
you, dude.
Yeah.
Not every question is a gotcha. I'm asking you why you're looking at that. Just tell me why you're looking at it. Don't say why not. I don't know. I don't know why you're doing this. Just tell me, like a normal human would do if I asked a question.
I don't know, just to see what they are.
Just seeing what he can see, Jay.
What are you learning?
So you said you lived in Nevada, right?
Nope.
Where'd you say? Arizona?
Arizona.
Oh shit, you're close to the bottom, buddy.
We live in a border state.
You're close to the bottom there.
That's right. Directions.
No.
Are you saying the bottom of the map or unemployment?
Oh, unemployment rate.
Close to the bottom unemployment rate, yeah. Y'all's state is 4.3.
Thank you. Look, he's
So
looking
low.
things up. I feel like
The
we
fact
should
that that's
encourage
near
this
the bottom
stuff. We
is-
shouldn't discourage him from looking up facts.
That's true. The fact
Actually,
that
it's
4.3
less
is near
than
the
mine.
bottom
It's
is
2.6
amazing.
for my state. My state's
that?
2.6. Alabama, 2.6.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, you guys are a welfare state. Did you not know that the largest, California is subsidizing your state?
We're ranked 7 on unemployment. Like what?
You're not aware that the fourth largest economy in the world pays for your existence? Just say thank you, California.
They're like third from the bottom at 5.1%.
Okay, California
what's
is
your
the fourth largest economy in the world, and that
Yes, I'm
they
aware.
subsidize Alabama.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
What are you learning with this data that you're going through now?
What am I learning?
Yeah.
I already knew that. Like,
Knew what?
what Felice was just saying, they're the fourth largest economy in
I'm
the
just
world.
wondering what you're learning. No, I didn't ask if that. I'm asking what you're learning. Dude, these are not gotcha questions. Why do you think every question I'm asking you, you're looking at something, and now I'm asking what you're learning?
What am I learning
Yeah.
about this?
Yeah.
That my state's doing pretty damn good, so I would say our elected representatives are doing a damn good job. Them Republicans that you're talking so shitty about seem to be doing a damn pretty good job.
Okay. I'm talking about Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. I'm not talking about your local
So the locals don't represent me no more?
No, brother. I'm saying we're having a discussion about Joe Biden and Donald Trump. If you'd like to talk about things that happen locally, I'm happy to talk about that. But you didn't even know who your representative was, so I didn't feel like I felt like the only two people you actually knew anything about were Joe Biden and Donald Trump. So I was trying to stay on a level of something. I was trying to stay on a level of something you could understand.
Because we're ranked 7th in the country.
Okay, but what are you learning?
7th.
What are you learning?
Where'd you say you was from again?
What are you learning?
Arizona.
You're ranked 41. 41.
Yeah, I understand.
You're so fucking smart. You can't get your people working, bro. They can't get your people working.
Dear Lord Jesus.
And by the way, by the way, Arizona is largely run by Republicans. So
Yeah,
it's entirely red.
there's more.
We just
have
got our
a Democrat.
first Democrat governor, but
We're
like
barely turning purple. We've traditionally
the
been
state
a red
house and
state
senate
our
are
entire
still
history.
run by Republicans.
Yeah, and y'all rank 41 in unemployment. I mean, y'all are representing ain't y'all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we're a traditional red state. We are failing at unemployment. Yes, that's true. And education, we're also really bad at that, in keeping with Republican tradition.
But Bushmaster, I'm bored of this. You have now run away from every conversation, and now you're looking at a graph for the first time.
Well,
you can't
goddamn,
tell
you
me.
was talking about unemployment. You said he was.
No,
better,
I was.
it looks
No,
like
we were
my
talking.
state's doing
Yeah,
good.
we were talking. Yeah, shut up. We were talking about on a federal level, and now you're
Wait.
just like naming states.
Now
Like,
you're trying to figure out.
I have a
now you're trying to
4-year-old
figure out
daughter who has
how
more
they
nuance
actually
than
get
you.
the unemployment
Shut up,
numbers,
dude.
right?
Not the middle of my sentence. God damn, dude. Wait till the end of sentences to talk.
Because you said it was on the national average.
We're going to try this again.
You said it was on a national average, but you don't realize that it comes from the states, right?
No, I didn't realize that they were factoring in the people of states. I had no idea that they were factoring in all the people that lived in states. This is brand new.
They even got their freaking numbers,
I can't believe that you're teaching me this. I thought that there were people that lived in states, and then there were other people that didn't live in states, and we were only counting them. That's what I thought.
Bro, you didn't even know how.
Jen, just let him talk.
I asked you, and you said it was off a national average. That's what you said.
Because we're talking about
because you said it can't. No. You said we tax. Which who does taxes? That's IRS.
We haven't talked about taxes yet.
No. That's how you said they got it. That's how you said they got it. You said
yes, because employment taxes. Because when you have a job, they take taxes out of that check.
Numbers, my guy.
So that's why, because you file for taxes with the IRS when you have a job. It's called employment identification number, EIN. That's how the government taxes people.
You just said ITIN. You just said ITIN, not no EIN.
Employment identification number. That's how.
Listen,
that's how it works.
You tell me how they get the unemployment number. Then why don't you tell me how they do that?
Shit, that has to go through 3 or 4 different fucking organizations before you.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's 3 or 4 different organizations, and then what do they do?
Oh my god, you said it was based off taxes.
And then what do they do? And then what do they do? What do those 3 or 4 organizations do? Could you name any of those organizations real quick?
Fuck no.
Fuck no. Okay, but you know what they do. Clearly, you know what they do. What do they do? How do they get the numbers then?
Well, they have to go through the unemployment first.
What do you mean go through the unemployment? What do you mean by that?
Have you ever filed for unemployment?
No, I have not. But what do you mean by that?
Okay, so when you get laid off,
these 3 or 4 people, they go through the unemployment. Was what you said?
No,
so
I know what he's trying to say.
What do they do?
Think about it. Filing for unemployment is voluntary, Bushmaster. Not everyone, when they don't have a job, files for unemployment. So you can't tell the unemployment rate of America by
everybody that files for unemployment
by unemployment claims. You're thinking. I understand the logic you're trying, but that's not how you tell who's employed and who's not, because it's not mandatory to make an unemployment claim, right?
No, it's not.
You cannot have a job and not need the money. Yes. So that's why I'm telling you that can't. The numbers won't make sense.
So
that way. It's not dependent on who tries to collect unemployment from the government.
Like me, I don't have to file for unemployment when I get laid off because we're
okay. But how do those 3 or 4 groups? But how do those 3 or 4 groups get the number? That's what we're asking.
Bro, you have to go through. Get the number. Hold on. Okay. There's a lot of fucking shit involved with that, dude.
Okay, let's start with the first step. What's the first step?
Jesus Christ, I'm trying and you won't let me finish.
Well, you're not good at explaining things, so I'm helping. I'm just asking questions, and you can answer them.
Not.
Okay, what's the first step?
Explaining shit.
What's the first step?
I'm good at doing it.
Yeah, but what's the first step?
The first step, you have to talk to unemployment.
Who is unemployment? Who do you call?
Well, you have Department of Labor that you can call.
Department of Labor, and you're going to call them, and you're going to say what?
And well, that depends on. Depends on if you got laid off, you got fired, whatever.
Well, no, these are the no.
They don't.
No, wait, hold on.
They just get the numbers.
Hold on, bro.
Tap the screen.
We're talking about the 3 or 4 different groups that track unemployment numbers. So at no point am I asking you what you would do to get unemployment. I'm asking you how these 3 or 4 groups that you're sure exist, how they generate the unemployment numbers. You said the first thing they'll do is call the unemployment office. Then what?
Well, they would have to get the numbers from that.
Okay, how would the people from unemployment have numbers? Where would they get those numbers from?
I presume they would get the numbers, even the numbers that were denied, like even if they applied and they got denied, they would get all those numbers.
Okay,
and then they would have
what about the people? So then what about the people that are unemployed but didn't file for unemployment?
They wouldn't have those numbers.
Oh, see, that's the problem. See, this is why you don't understand it. That's why we don't look at who gets unemployment to get our unemployment numbers. See the problem?
Yes, you do.
No, it's not. It's not. It's just absolutely not. Brother, when you go to work, you give them your social security number. You are taxed. Hold on.
Or your ITIN.
And wait, yeah, or your ITIN or your EIN. If you're like me, I operated mostly as a sole proprietor, so I had an EIN instead of a social security number. Yes. Right? Okay. So then what happens is that all that reporting, the same stuff that's reported for our individual taxes, that all goes together into one system. We know how many people.
Yeah, the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Whoa. Not in the middle of my sentences. So we know who's working. We also know how many people live here. So you take the people that are working, you subtract people who are retired or people who are on disability or people who
passed away.
I don't know if, well, obviously, but you would also sometimes you remove people who like aren't looking for jobs anymore. So like if there's a one income house, the person that is like if
like
there's
dead
only
people
one
voting?
income, the person be quiet. The person who stays at home, they don't count for unemployment because they don't need to work, right? So you pull those numbers out, and that's where you get the unemployment number. Did we learn something today?
Now
that unemployment number, now that number was collected the same way during the Trump administration during the Trump administration as it is now, and the number is lower now than during the Trump administration, meaning that less people are unemployed now than at any time during the Trump presidency. That's why you said these economic numbers matter, stock market higher, unemployment lower. That's three things now that you've said are important to you, and Joe Biden's better on all three things. So do you want to move to the next thing now?
Interest rates are higher.
Okay, and how do we determine interest rates?
How?
Who does?
Well, there's many ways, but how it gets determined on you, if you go for a loan, it goes off your credit score. But if you
I don't think you understand. No, I don't think you understand what we're talking about.
Do you know who Jerome Powell is?
No. Who is Jerome Powell?
That's the problem.
How is that? Why does he control all
Because he runs the
rate?
Federal Reserve, dude, and the Federal Reserve sets the interest rate.
Okay, so I know what the Federal Reserve is. I'm not good with names. If you say Federal Reserve,
is the Federal Reserve under the direction of the president?
Under the direction of the president?
Yeah. Do they act under the direction of the president?
They act based off what he does. Yeah.
No, it's not weird that you always try and answer a different question that I ask. Do they act at his discretion? Do they take orders from the president?
No.
Are you peeing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I don't know.
No, I was not peeing. I was pouring the damn drink out. Calm down.
Okay.
Y'all are so freaking Jesus, man. Oh,
we're just laughing. You said you were peeing, so we were laughing. I'm sorry that we believed you. My bad, dog. Okay, so we've agreed that the president doesn't set the interest rate, so we can probably go to something else. What other things that the president has control over do you think that Donald Trump did better than Joe Biden?
What do I think? Did who better than Joe Biden?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump,
He's
everything.
He's that big
absolutely everything.
Fuck.
You had
okay,
peace
but we're
and
asking for
prosperity.
but we're no Bushmaster. We're asking for specifics because I don't care about your feelings. So you've now mentioned four things really. One of them doesn't have to do with the president. The other three things Biden did better. So we're going one by one. What's another thing that you think Donald Trump did better than Joe Biden? And the answer cannot be everything. It needs to be something specific. Okay, what specific foreign policy?
All of it.
I just said the answer can't be all of it. That's why I said what specific foreign policy.
Well, he drew us down, was getting us out of wars. That's number one.
Did you know that troops on the ground increased under Donald Trump?
On the ground where?
All around the world.
All around the world.
The total boots on the ground increased under Donald Trump.
Sure, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what do you mean he drew us down then? What do you mean by that?
in Afghanistan.
Who got us? When did we leave Afghanistan? Was that under Trump or under Biden?
That happened after Biden.
Yeah. Okay.
Who negotiated the pullout?
Who negotiated it?
Mm-hmm.
That was Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He had the date set. Right.
And then we pushed it back and pushed it back and pushed it back. And then we pulled out under Biden, correct?
Pushed it. Biden did reset the date. Yes.
Trump pushed it back twice, actually, before that.
And Biden pushed it back twice. He said he was going right?
He said he was going to be out by Thanksgiving. Then he said out by the end of the year, and neither of those happened. So he did push it back twice.
Sure. So.
Okay. So he didn't get us out of. He did not during his presidency. He didn't get us out of Afghanistan.
But he had it drew down to 2,500 troops.
Correct. Yeah, and largely what he had done is he had repositioned those troops in other places. Right? Okay, cool. So what specific policy then are you pointing at?
Well,
where Trump did better.
When he had the actual date set, if he'd have stayed with the date that.
But he didn't, so we shouldn't give him credit for things he didn't do.
No. I'm talking about the date that when Trump left office. If he
didn't have a date when he didn't have a date set when he left office.
He didn't?
No, he kept pushing back the dates, and he was speaking in generalities. He said
no,
by
Biden
Thanksgiving, by the end of the year.
Biden pushed the dates back twice.
So did Trump.
Okay.
But
he had a date set.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he pushed them back. I get it.
Biden
we've already covered this.
Why
yeah,
would
they
Biden,
both did.
Why did Biden push them back?
Because the plan was shitty, and the generals advised him that they weren't ready
yet. No. I'm not talking about the strategic part of that. I'm talking about a different part.
What part? What's the other part?
Okay, have you ever been to Afghanistan? Do you know any? Wait. Do you know anything about the Afghanistan war? Do you know?
I know some things about the Afghanistan war. I have never been there.
What do you know?
What do you know? Just to list things about Afghanistan? Like,
I know
that's delusional.
I know that we went there supposedly because we were going to go in and we were going to get Bin Laden and we were going to take out Al Qaeda, and we fought for years and years and years, and it largely wasn't working.
Why wasn't it working?
For a lot of reasons. Number one, because the people we were fighting against were crafty. Number two, every time we unalived innocent people, we radicalized more people. We had destabilized that entire area, and people were radicalized against us. So it was very easy for them to recruit and replenish their forces. Two, there was no real end goal. We were fighting a government, and every time we got rid of one leader, a worse leader would take its place. It's called a regime change war. They never work. Your friend Tulsi Gabbard can tell you all about that.
Yeah, guerrilla warfare. But the reason they were kicking our behinds, I guess you'd say, is because they had tunnels, bro. Their tunnel systems is what fucking we didn't know where they were. You know what I'm saying? They know where their tunnel systems were.
So okay, great. So we've covered that. There
and
were
also
tunnels.
they had what you call we called So they had what we called a fighting season.
Okay, but what does this have to do?
That has nothing to do with your other point, though.
Look at the date.
Because listen, brother, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm asking you to tell me what the fuck you're talking about. What does this have to do with the pullout? Just answer what it has to do with the pullout. Stop saying, what does it not? That's a fucking dumb thing to say. I'm asking your opinion. Give it to me.
You seem to know so much. I'm trying to figure it out.
What does this have to do with the pullout?
All right, so absolutely. What it has to do with the pullout is the fact that he pushed it back to the middle of their fighting season. That's what we called it while we was there, the fighting season, meaning the temperature, the degrees.
Yeah, it's like 140 degrees.
Yeah, that's when they come out to.
Yes, we know.
That's right. That's when they
live in Arizona. We know.
Yeah, that's when they come out to fight.
So what's your point?
The ISIS and Taliban and all them little.
Okay, what's your point?
Folks over there. Huh?
What's your point?
He pushed it back to the middle of their fighting season.
Okay, but what is? Yeah, I get that. Why does that matter?
Why would a president that was?
Why are you asking? Why are you answering questions with a question? Answer. No, I'm asking you the question. Stop responding with questions. Why does it matter? Tell me why it matters. I'm giving you the opportunity, Bushmaster, to educate me.
Why would you help the enemy?
That's another question. Stop starting it with a why. Just tell me.
Because he helped the enemy.
How?
He pushed it to the middle of their fighting season. I mean, in other words,
we covered that already. How did that help the enemy?
To do the attack that they did. Do you not know 13 soldiers lost their lives?
I know about the attack. Can you explain to me why that would only happen during that time?
Because it's middle of the fighting season, bro.
You think they just take the other time off? There's no fighting?
Fuck yeah, they do. They won't fight. I'm telling you, they won't.
They wouldn't attack? Okay.
If it's cold weather, they are not coming out to fight you. I promise you.
Okay.
Cool. So what's the point of this? So Donald Trump didn't pull out when he said he was going to. He pushed. Wait, hold on. Let me just recap.
Biden.
So Donald Trump. I'm recapping, and then you can answer.
Who gets credit for the pullout? Biden or
Hey,
Trump?
brother, shut up! I'm asking you a question. At the end of my question is the time for you to answer, not during the question. At the end. So Trump pushed back the dates twice,
like 30
and then I'm not. No, again, that's the middle. That's the middle of the sentence. So Trump pushed back the dates twice. Then he left office. Then Biden, after taking the advice from the military generals, pushed it all the way back. So what is the point that you're drawing here?
The point is the draw date was center of their fighting season. They're not coming out in the cold weather to
you've
fight.
covered that again. You've covered that
So,
again.
like, what do you not understand that helps the enemy?
Well, one,
Like,
I think you're wrong, and I don't know enough to, but I don't believe you because everything you've said you've been wrong about. Could you cite a source here? I've never heard that the Taliban shut down in the winter and didn't fight. I've never heard that.
And I think it's, yeah. I mean, war is seasonal, let's be honest. It is in Ukraine as well because of the harsh winters. Like, I mean, I think military action, there's more opportune times for it. No one's debating that. But then you're tying that back and you said, who's responsible for the pullout? Who are you trying to say is responsible? Like,
well,
who
Biden is obviously
responsible
responsible for the timeline, so therefore he is responsible for that happening.
The date was pushed back because why? Because military generals were saying, we can't do this. We're not ready. There's going to be a catastrophe.
He was vice president for 8 years during the Afghanistan war. True or false?
What is that? Okay, sure.
But what started this conversation? Wait, hold on. We're getting us back on track. I'm not going to stop. Listen.
How would you not know?
No, not stop and keep talking.
How would you not know, bro?
No, what the fuck are you like? Honest to God, can you hear? Stop. I'm asking you a clarifying question now, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to again. Shut up. We started this by saying you said that you liked Donald Trump's policies. Donald Trump didn't get us out of Afghanistan. So are you saying that you would rather be in Afghanistan than pull out how Biden did? Would you rather we still be in Afghanistan?
Would I rather us still be there? No.
Okay, then this point is bunk. There's plenty to criticize about Joe Biden, but at the end of the day, Joe Biden got us out. Donald Trump didn't. So there's 4 points.
At the end of the day, he is the reason 13 soldiers are dead.
4 points that you said were important to you, and so far Joe Biden's better on all of them.
He's the reason 13 soldiers are dead.
Listen. We can criticize Joe Biden. I don't think he did a perfect job. But what you're doing is you're using the criticism against Joe Biden for something that he accomplished that Donald Trump didn't. And you've already said you would rather us be where we're at now, where we had the problems that we had, but we're out of Afghanistan, than still being in Afghanistan. So by your own admission, Joe Biden was better on Afghanistan.
No.
I'm not going to go relitigate the whole war. Like you said, just barely, it's better that we're out. Okay, I agree with you. Were there problems? Yes. Are there problems I probably don't know about? Absolutely. And I have no desire to defend Joe Biden as the leader of the free world and as our military. I've criticized him plenty. But he still pulled us out of Afghanistan and Trump didn't. So again, you can complain, but you can't point to Trump and say Trump would have done it better because he didn't. He had the chance, he didn't do it. So 4 things that you've brought up so far, Joe Biden's better on all 4 of those things.
So what's better to draw down, 2,500 troops versus what Trump had?
Again, what did I just say? I said I have no desire to litigate like what happened to Afghanistan.
No.
I'm not an expert on.
You're not
an expert on.
Yeah. You don't care about results. No, but just say, I don't care about results. I'm in a cult and I support Orange Jesus. That's what you're saying. If you want results for the things you care about, the man who's given those results to you is the president of the United States now. That's Dark Brandon. Those are the facts. The things you care about, the man that gave you the results is the president of the United States now. But you're saying, I don't care. I support Donald Trump. Okay, then just say, I actually don't care about these things. I'm not about results. I'm just in a cult, and our leader is Donald Trump.
So a cult? No, I don't agree to that.
Okay. I've never met somebody in a cult
you just
that
deny all facts and result. You don't.
Nobody in a cult ever.
So wait. Do you remember growing up, RTP? Wait, you're in your 30s.
Nope, we have amnesia. What?
You're in your 30s, right?
Yep.
Well, people that were, younger don't remember how older people grew up because it changed because of changes.
We're like, dude, we're like 2 years apart. I just look better than you.
Show us your face. I'm curious what you look like. Is it on your profile? If I click on your
What's
profile?
your point? Sorry, that was a cheap shot. I apologize. What was it?
No,
what was your point?
motherfucker, I look better than you.
Oh, God, I look way better. Oh, damn. Hey, I can't believe you have all your teeth, though. That's crazy. I didn't expect that. Yeah. All right, what was your point?
Oh, fuck. Shit, I don't even remember what the fuck I was talking
you said
about.
You remember growing up?
All right, so yeah, talking about a cult, right? Yeah, you remember growing up, you learned about cults?
I was in a cult growing up.
At the end of the cult, they would teach you what they did. What did they?
No,
I was
in a cult. Not all cults end with everybody unaliving themselves. You're wrong about that.
No,
I grew up in a cult. That cult
I'm not
is very
talking
much
about
still
that.
alive.
Didn't they tell them to drink the elixir and all that?
Yeah, well,
shit?
some of them, yes. Not all cults.
Those are doomsday cults. Those are doomsday cults.
Let me finish. So Trump took the elixir, right?
What? What's the elixir? Are you trying to say the COVID vaccine is the elixir?
You don't think so?
Is that how you're trying to move this? Is that where this is going?
I think y'all are in the cult, bro.
Why?
Because did you take the elixir?
Did I get vaccinated? Yeah, based on the overwhelming scientific evidence that shows that it's safe and effective.
Elixir, bro. He drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, you know what's
I didn't drink the Kool-Aid, bro.
I know, my friend. You did. But here's the thing.
This is like an ad for vaccination, right?
Yeah, this is an ad for your state's education, first of all. But second of all, I took an elixir based almost entirely on scientific data.
And how do you feel about that?
Wait. And I just want to point something out. When you went to work, if you worked at a place where there was a mandate to be vaccinated, what were the reasons you could avoid being vaccinated and still work there? On what conditions could you not be vaccinated and work there?
On what conditions?
Religious beliefs. Cults. The elixir, the only way to not take the elixir was to say, I'm in a cult. It doesn't make any, your analogy doesn't make any sense, dude. Like your analogy, the people like you, it's like the flat earthers.
It doesn't make any sense.
People who hate science and go just on their gut like you do. You're pointing the finger at people who are like, oh, we looked at the overwhelming scientific data that says these vaccines, that it is smarter to be vaccinated than to not be vaccinated. Your outcomes are better when you're vaccinated. We believed the scientific data. You guys believed in Sky Daddy. And then it's like, you call us the cult.
Really?
Really? Yeah, I was in a cult. I know about cults. I know how cults operate, and they operate exactly like you. They operate that when information is given. Yeah, I'll explain it. When information is given to you that you don't like, you have a knee-jerk reaction to reject it, and you say things like which is what you've done all day today, or I don't believe you. I was in a cult. That's how I responded. Once I was out of the cult, I realized how many things I went that were actually true. And if you got out of this cult, you'd find that out too. But I don't know that you have the guts to stand on your own. I don't think you have the guts to live where you live and speak from a factual standpoint and stand up against the rest of the cult that is around you. I don't think you have that in you. I don't think you're that brave.
So cults, they drink the elixir. They don't.
Oh, they don't. Those are doomsday cults. They don't always drink the elixir. You're thinking of like one or two. In fact, most of them didn't. Can you tell
me what is the Nuremberg Code?
Yeah, if you look at what happened in Waco, there was no drinking of the elixir. You're talking about basically like Jim Jones. There's cults in existence right now. The Nixium cult. They weren't drinking elixir. They were tattooing each other's and making packs. Like
they were branding, not tattoo.
Yeah, that's right. Branding. Sorry. Thank you. That was a really ineffective way to say
That's really weird. So can you tell me what the Nuremberg Code is? Can you tell me that?
I could, but I'm 15 minutes over and I got to go spend time with my daughter, and I don't feel we can do conspiracies another time. But in the meantime, do me a favor.
That's fucking actual fucking trials that happened in the United States.
Calm down.
Bro.
I know, but you'll turn it into. Listen, I'll talk to you about it later, but I think you'll turn it into some conspiracy. I hope you prove me wrong, but I am out of time. I'm supposed to have a hard cutoff at 1. I'm out of time.
Well, you have to have voluntary.
I don't know the part about me saying I was out of time. That's not an invitation for you to keep going.
I'm just giving you.
What I'm saying is, Bushmaster, it was an absolute delight to speak to you today. Thank you for showing your face.
I'll think about you all night while I nurse this headache.
Yeah, and things are going to go really well for you in the future. You have a bright future ahead of you, and Jesus loves you. I don't know. Do you have anything to add?
I really am losing faith in humanity. Oh, my head hurts so bad.
Hey, but we got to 300K likes without having to beg. Thank you.
I was begging.
Yeah, that's true.
No, just kidding. Anyways, Bushmaster, come back and see us. I'm sure you will turn the Nuremberg trials into a conspiracy. We look forward to hearing
Some in the chat are advocating, Felice, that you get a white flag, too.
I know, just give up. I'm going to start doing like a flag routine during these. I'm going to put together like a whole thing.
I love that you brought props. That makes me happy. I know. I think you should do more props.
I'm going to.
You'd be the Carrot Top.
I love a prop.
Of our duo.
Did you say Carrot Top?
He's props. He's a prop guy.
Okay, whatever.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Felice. We'll see you in the morning. Everybody else, we'll see you tomorrow morning.
Bye, guys.
Bushmaster, sleep well, my friend.